All right, and just like that, and mostly on time, and without even looking at my inputs to make sure my audio sounds good, it looks like it's right. So, hey, Thaddeus, how you doing?
Doing wonderful.
That's good to hear, man. Just so everybody knows, yeah, it's late. Sorry, there's a storm a brewing. We've had crazy flooding here in Washington that I missed most of because I visited family back in Tennessee while all the flooding was going on. But apparently, there's another storm coming, and it's crazy windy, and our power went out yesterday. So hopefully that doesn't affect us. But went and got some gas for the generator. And where does Jesus say, "I am God, worship me"? I think you answered correctly in the Quran. I haven't read it, but it's got to be there. Super echoey. That's what people were saying last time. All right. Well, gosh dang. Well, no, that didn't. That's what people were saying when I was on I had to switch to my phone last time. Why would it be echoey
It
now?
sounds fine to me. That's weird.
I can't hear myself. Let me switch over to this input. Does this sound any better or worse?
Is it my mic? It could be my mic picking up my speakers here.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I'm playing on your speaker, then because I can't hear myself. All right, Jeremy Kipper, can you help us out? You sound good. All right, well, I guess we'll just roll with it. Let us know if there's
Jeremy's
any.
a troll. I invited him here.
Oh, I mean, well. No echo. All right, thank you guys. Sound good. Sweet. I love you. All right, so I thought we just start at the beginning. You know a bit more of this topic than I do, just because you sound like you're on the pulse of it way more. But would you say the story starts with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or do we need to go before that?
Yeah, that's probably I think probably my experience of learning things, like what I learned in the order I learned it, is probably the best way to go because, yeah, I think part of like the framing of it is the fact that people who like Charlie Kirk have been Zionists.
Right.
And the last couple years, he started questioning the Zionist narrative. All he had to do was not be on their side a couple times, and then he found out what they would do to him, and then that pushed him further, and they attacked him more and further. But the problem is if you're someone who is not a Zionist like myself, ever since I became Orthodox, I was raised a Zionist, a Nation of Israel supporter. If you didn't like Charlie Kirk because he was a Zionist shill, and now that he has passed away, a bunch of us have, shared all these clips and found out what he's been up to, and we never heard about it because, again,
yeah, that was my
experience.
Not
talk about it. And
when I found out about Charlie, when I started hearing about Charlie Kirk, I saw the clips. I thought he was just kind of a normie conservative guy like Ben Shapiro or whoever that I would have been into like 6-7 years before. So I didn't really pay much attention to him. Oh, that's not for me. But then he dies, and like within 48 hours, I'm seeing clips of him asking Hardy, like, did you see that? I'm sure you've seen it, like him asking Ben Shapiro about why does Israel support all these leftist organizations, and he's like, I think we should just be able to ask the question. And Ben Shapiro's like looking at him with like daggers in his eyes, and like, oh, okay, he was way more aware than I had ever given him credit. And I don't know how long that was. I mean, from my understanding, it was like the last month of his life. He was open with it, at least. I don't know if he was aware before that and he was just intentionally playing that side, but it seems like he was a believer in Zionism before that.
Yeah. I mean, he was kind of, I would say, like groomed by them. His organization, as soon as it began, was kind of tapped into by this money, and so he, the bias was, I think sincere. Which the greatest evidence of that is once he started seeing the other facts, he started asking the questions, and it got him in trouble. He had donors drop out. There's evidence that he was threatened by some of the Zionist donors. There was a meeting that happened shortly before he was killed. I can't remember how long, I think in August, and he was killed September 10th. And he was told it was TPUSA donors, it was Bill Ackerman and some of these guys. And then afterwards, he texted multiple of his friends that it was basically an intervention, and they were like, he was scared afterwards. And so, yeah, and one of the things he asks that makes people upset, and I'm like, wow, this is not what you ask if you're just a Zionist shill. He asked if October 7th had a stand down order, and that's like the equivalent of questioning the Holocaust. Even even saying, oh, it was only 3 million, and you're still like a horrible anti-Semitic person. But like,
or just like, how like logistically 6 million? How? Oh, you're an anti-Semite.
Like, and you can't ask that question even if you're like, I love Jews. I'm just wondering about the history, like as a dry factual analysis. Well, yeah, it's the same with October 7th. That's a emotionally weaponized issue, and so you're with any sort of psyop, any sort of manipulation, whatever. One of the key signs is that you're emotionally charging people, because that's like in the mind, that's layers of defense that you would have to get through to actually change someone's mind. If it's just a dry fact, someone can sit there and be objective and weigh it on the scales. But if the moment you approach it, all the alarms go off, you can't get anywhere near actually considering something. And the fact that he had done that he was actually considering this after being such a doubling down hardcore Zionist, a lot of us like immediately switched to respecting him. I mean, I really didn't know much about him. He was a guy who had kind of a tiny face, and that was about all I knew.
I knew like the Jim Bob memes of like making fun of his smile and things like that.
Yeah. So yeah. And then we hear, weirdly enough, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm like 30 minutes from when this happened. I forget, like, it's just a thing I researched and I go, it was like, right next door to me. Not that that's really relevant in any way, but it's so strange every time I think about
did you
that.
get any different perspective being so close? Was there, because it was a pretty nationwide reaction in a lot of different ways. Did you get any other perspective being so close? Like, did it hit people differently, or did they talk about it more? Or?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't. It really wasn't local stuff. Like most of my, like you said, finger on the pulse has been watching just way too many YouTube videos, different people analyzing, and also being on Twitter and seeing like very strange reactions on Twitter. And yeah, that's been most of it. And yeah, when I first saw it happening, or like had heard that it had happened, you hear that he's been shot and they've got the guy. And then shortly after that, George Zinn, this guy that they arrested, turns out it wasn't him, and they're looking for the real shooter.
Right.
And
is that the guy? Is that like the boomer that was like clearly a patsy? He was like, "Kill me, just shoot me." That guy.
Yeah. And then later they found child pornography on his phone, CP on his phone, and like they were trying to they were starting to realize it wasn't him, but they were trying to get on his phone and he was acting all weird. And when they finally got through, they saw what was on there and then arrested him again. But the weirder part, I don't know if you know about this, the weirder part is he was at 9/11. I kid you not, he was at 9/11.
No, I don't think I heard that.
He's like a documented witness. And so here he is at two of these major events that are extremely suspicious. And acting like a patsy. And I believe there's another event he was at that's very strange, but I can't remember what it was. And so then they're after, this kid, Tyler Robinson. They say his dad turned him in. Later, it turned out that it was a sheriff got in touch with their dad and encouraged him to turn Tyler in. So there's narrative stuff going on where you're like, okay, what actually happened? And Tyler's parents are silent. They haven't spoke. Part of me thinks that maybe they're not allowed to speak or something. They haven't gone to the trials, which even for, like people who've done horrible stuff, a lot of times the parents are still there. So it's like radio silence from the parents. But yeah, so and then they finally catch Tyler, and the information they release and the circumstances is so strange. For one, like they release some photos and video footage,
right?
But it's
him jumping off the roof, and
what was that?
Like him jumping off the roof, and like pictures of him climbing stairs.
Yeah, and they say the barrel, which is this very long barrel for this Mauser rifle that's supposedly disassembled, is in his pant leg. But you can see in one photo where his knee's bent, like there's nothing in there, and then you can see in another photo the other leg bent at the knee, and so like. A lot of it's strange.
He dropped it off in the woods or something for some reason.
Yeah, and then they have video of him coming and parking at the event after the shooting. And this is like, he comes back? Why does he come back? Just they only have footage of him pulling up, but it's like, this just seems like they picked a guy. But yeah, like that's obviously my speculation, whatever. But it's weird, and it's enough that like grounds to ask questions. And then you have him. There's so much more than this. Like I just don't remember off the top of my head. But like this is just enough to like get the kind of gist of it. But he changed it. Some of the photos he has different clothes on, and they're like, yeah, he changed his clothes for some reason. He comes back for some reason. He changes his clothes, and then there's also a photo that I believe it was Candace Owens that dug up from a security camera at a local Dairy Queen. He got ice cream after.
Well,
we have a photo of Tyler Robinson standing there. You could see his full face and everything. He doesn't have any stuff on like he does in those other photos, whoever it is. And he's ordering a Blizzard. And it's like, what? I'm starting. That's some mental gymnastics for me to be like, I mean, it's possible, but it's very weird.
right. Like my heart would probably be racing, and I probably wouldn't go get ice cream.
Yeah, that would.
Maybe.
I don't even know how to imagine anyone doing that. Like even a sociopath, that seems very weird. And
the Dairy Queen got torn down days later. What?
Did it? I didn't hear about that.
That's what Mr. West is saying.
Interesting. Yeah, like there's so much you can't even document it all. It's just such a massive.
And there I saw tons of theorizing about like where the bullet was really coming from, and people analyzing the footage and thinking that what's the guy's name, like the Protestant pastor Turek or whatever, saying that like people
Frank
thought
Turek,
he was the thought he was the shooter, or people are lining up like maybe we could see the bullet in the air in these frames, and all these different stuff, and
so much weird stuff with the bullet.
And like they thought, like people said, like it ricocheted off of his body armor and hit him in the neck and different things. But let's keep going, because my mind's already going to like the newer stuff, but we got to get there in order, I think.
Yeah, and so I was gonna talk about Erika, but let's talk about the shot itself. So the shot itself is so interesting because we have this autopsy report. It tells us the C2 which disc in the spine the bullet supposedly hit. And everyone has done the calculations. You can see the photos online. People love to, like, you have the angle of the shot. And there's this funny photo where they draw this little red line around his chin. And then it goes to the C2 because it would literally have had to have gone through his face. Like, there's no way around that. It would have to have gone through his face to hit that upper C2 spinal spot.
Or the shooter would have had to been lower for another angle.
Yeah, it would have had to have been lower. And another one of the problems is that generally, like, you can watch videos now, people are doing these tests, and they wanted to know, these gun enthusiasts on YouTube are shooting ballistics gel skulls, like replicas, with a 30-06 round, which is supposedly what shot him. And the thing, you can watch this, the thing freaking explodes. The neck explodes, and the head falls off. And what we see is, blip, like this little red spot.
You do see gushing, like it's.
I mean, you see one splurt, like from what I've seen, unless I'm missing something in the photo. There's one like, bleh, and then there's nothing. Like there's no footage. Getting a little ahead of myself here, but I see no blood in any video after that of all the footage that I've ever seen. And there's people that talk about being there and being covered in blood, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have it, and then the bullet is said, because the 30-06 not only will explode, it's going to go through. It can go through another round of concrete, and it can kill another person behind that concrete. Like this is an intense round. Now, I know some people have dug up like, oh, there's this one obscure 30-06 round from the 80s that has plastic and isn't like that. And it's like, okay, cool, like theoretically, but yeah. And then what they said happened was this. Like I just told you what a 30-06 round would have done in that situation. They say, miraculously, it bounced. It bounced off the C2 and went down. And it's like, okay, wild. So,
like what, on the ground or like through his body?
Into him. And then they say, it's like, okay, cool, well, let's recover the round and do some ballistics. No. It fragmented. It's like, oh, okay, so we have the fragments of a bullet, right? Like, that's weird. Why would it bounce off a spinal thing and then fragment? But whatever. Okay, well, let's get the fragments. No. It disintegrated. It's gone.
It was made of ice.
Yeah, it's gone. That's the FBI narrative. It's gone. It's just, the bullet's just gone. So there's, and again, there's more to this. There's yeah, recent stuff that's come out of like a guy doing audio analysis that's really interesting. But like this is the 101 of like the whole bullet concept itself is just very weird.
Well, Manuel is saying we don't know the angle, the position, etc. All sorts of factors that make it unable to compare with those. And I think Thaddeus is saying like with like the proposed like FBI evidence of what they're saying that the story is. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, I still know people that think it was from the staircase behind and to the right, and all this stuff. So I mean, it's really cloaked in shadows still to me.
Yeah, we know where they say he was, and we know where Charlie was, and you can even just with a photo of that, you can calculate the angle of where his head would be. And so the variables there to test the narrative that is the FBI narrative are all there. Like we have enough pieces to test and see that. So if it came from somewhere else, yeah, that could solve the problem. But the FBI is very clear. There's videos of a guy on a roof, and the FBI says this is where he was. That's him, and so we know exactly where he's supposed to be. Like that is a part of their official release is where he was when he took the shot. So yeah.
So I mean, I don't think we can really trust the official statement. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
if it really was if it's not a 30-06, why would they pick a round that is not believable? Why would they pick a round that doesn't make sense?
There's this option which is the FBI narrative. Tyler Robinson is the lone shooter, and then there's all these other options, and pretty much all of them are psyops. Like, it can, Candace Owens could be a psyops, Candace Owens could not. A lot of people hear me talking, they're like, oh, you love Candace Owens? I'm like, I tried not to watch her videos. She is a very annoying person, but she was doing some of the research that was objectively interesting, digging a lot of this stuff up. There's a bunch of other people doing it too. I don't care about Candace Owens. I care about the truth. Like, I'm the kind of person who, if you tell me not to go like research something, or you tell me someone's view, they believe this and they're idiots, I'm going to go look at it because I'm like, generally people have reasons they believe something. I've looked into flat earthers. I've looked into the Holocaust stuff I was told not to by the Zionists, like all this stuff, just because that's the kind of person I am. So when it comes to this, I'm like, I want to hear both sides. And hearing both sides, it was just very much like, it's not that. It's not the FBI narrative. I don't know which of the other options it is. I have no idea. I don't know if Candace Owens is good or bad. TPUSA seems like they might be bad, but they've got some questionable money stuff we could talk about. I don't know if Israel was involved. Like, I don't know. But
if Israel wasn't involved, I feel like somebody really wanted to make it look like they were, because it really seems like they were. And I think the two options I keep hearing people talk about is like, oh no, it was just radical leftists because Tyler Robinson had a trans boyfriend, girlfriend thing, and there was tranny ideology scratched into the side of the bullet casings or the bullets or whatever. And so it was a leftist ideology thing against this milquetoast conservative guy. It's like, well,
yeah, and
okay, well, even if it was leftist and not Israel, trademark, I still look at most leftist stuff like Charlie was saying towards the end of his life, that Israel is the main funder of all this left-wing tranny, depopulation agenda stuff. They are the things that are trying to brainwash people. They're the entity most trying to brainwash people. So you can look at all the leftists, the woke, the brainwash people as like a power arm or an extension of Israel because they are trying to co-opt the minds of those people. So it might be Israel or Israel by proxy, the two things that people seem to think it might be. Otherwise, like who else would be a suspect, or what group would be a suspect? I mean, people might say like the conservatives, like people said like Trump's assassination may have been staged because it was on a stage, and he just wanted to bolster his position and win the election and all that. So maybe somebody could say that Charlie was in on it or something.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it really hard. It is. Yeah, I think it's fair that it's like really hard for it to not be Israel in some way.
Right.
There's evidence that we could talk a lot about TPUSA. But TPUSA, there's evidence. If you go watch, I forget his channel's name, but it's like something in Wolf Finance. But what he does on his channel is he investigates people's like IRS tax forms and stuff. And he started going through like these massive documents of TPUSA, and he picked some of the addresses to verify, and he found addresses he couldn't verify, and he drove to those locations. And one of them, where they send $1.5 million, the business doesn't exist. Like it says an address, it's a strip mall. None of the businesses are the business it says. And it's also connected, I forget exactly how, you can go watch the video, but it's connected to a huge Republican legislator, one of the congressmen. And so this money goes to this non-existent business. Yeah, this shell name. I mean, it's not even a shell, it just like isn't there. And so like there's a bunch of weird stuff like this. And then you have the fact that like since this happened, it's always funny when people are like, Candace is doing it for money. Or maybe, totally maybe. But
she's making money.
They use that as a deflection, which is like TPUSA went from making about 100 million in the last, since Charlie was shot, to 250 million. 150% increase in how much revenue they make since Charlie was shot. So throw that at Candace, sure, but then be fair about throwing it at TPUSA. You can't deflect from TPUSA. I'm down to go after both, but like anyone going after Candace and not TPUSA, like that's weird to me. Like usually it's because people have been influenced just by the people who are criticizing Candace and they don't like her. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of hers, but you know, a person who is annoying can also be a truth seeker. Like they can be this annoying person, they could be a truth seeker, and she could be a psyop. Again, nothing's off the table, and I think that's the only way you can approach objectively is all these are
she could be a psyop wittingly or unwittingly too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could give a couple reasons I would say she looks like a psyop. It's not enough for me to say she is. Like TPUSA is like wildly suspicious, and then she's got a couple things that it's like that's fair. And I went back and like I was trying not to watch her, and I was watching other YouTube content producers, and then eventually they commented on her stuff so much, I'm like, this is all coming from her, that I went back to the beginning and watched all of her videos since then, and I've kept up with them because she is asking valid questions, whether she's annoying or not, whether she's a grifter or not. That doesn't change the fact that this is objective stuff that's coming out. Right. And so. Yeah, but people framing it as like, are you on Candace's side or TPUSA? I'm like, I'm just Occam's razoring it. Like, let's look at all the evidence and figure out the simplest narrative. And the one thing that is like really sure in my mind, the only thing is like, it's not the lone shooter narrative. It might be Tyler Robinson and other people. It might not be Tyler Robinson. It might be Israel. It might not be Israel. I think it's really plausible. But it's not the lone shooter narrative. It just, you look at all the facts, and we've touched like 2% just now on what's out there, and it's already, I would say, validly suspicious. But yeah, TPUSA has all this like weird money history. And the one other thing on that subject, since we're like cover this whole bubble, a month before Charlie was killed, he said he wanted to do a Doge style audit. And their response to this when
on TPUSA,
yeah. He said, I don't know where all this money is coming from and where it's all going. I really want to figure it out. A month later, he was dead. And then they just farm a bunch of new money through it. Like, very weird. And when you ask TPUSA about it, they refuse to answer any questions they don't know how to. When they do answer questions, a lot of it is like obvious cope. Like, it's not responding to what Candace and others are asking them, which itself is suspicious. Maybe there's answers. But they'll say, oh, we audit it every year. Okay, why did Charlie Kirk talk about wanting to do this special kind of audit if he saw that as adequate? You know, and they're doubling down constantly. This is what Charlie would have wanted. It's like, you're not talking about Israel. Erika's got the right. Israel button. You're not talking about the Doge style audit. Like a bunch of things you could list off that Charlie cared about. Charlie said, never stop asking questions. It's the only way we stay free. And TPUSA and all its donors are doubling down on stop asking questions.
Right. Did they just like not see any of the footage from his last month of his life that we all saw? They're just gonna completely leave that in the dark and not leave it unacknowledged and not ask the questions he's asking? Would any of the TPUSA would Erika Kirk go to Ben Shapiro and ask him questions?
Candace, you know, is like questioning Erika so much, and people are so offended. That's like their big thing. How could she do this to a grieving widow? Candace expected that when she started asking this, Erika and TPUSA were going to be in with her. And it was when they were not that she went, what? Why wouldn't they be? They're all his friends. Why would they not be asking these questions? When Kash Patel, who's his own bag is suspicious, is like doubling down that there are no other alternatives, and there are a bunch. Like there's some we haven't even mentioned, not just Israel, whatever. There's Destiny and his gang. But like those
The
should all
streamer?
be on the table. Destiny the streamer, yeah.
How does he factor in?
Okay, let's get in the Destiny.
I mean, I've heard him say stuff like, "Oh, these people need to be killed," and shot. Or what's the other dude that shocks his dog? That Sam Hyde said he was going to murder. What was that guy's name? Anyways, yeah, I mean, he says crazy stuff that like he wants conservatives to be killed and like you should stab them in the street and stuff. Hassan Piker, that guy.
Yeah. So so the Destiny angle. So first off, I don't think this is what happened. And this could be part of the psyop that I like to say that the CIA doesn't play with aces up their sleeve. They play with a full deck of cards. So they can play a 2 or a 5 of hearts and you never think there's anything weird. So a lot of times they take what's already available and they work with that. You know, you go to a nation where there's a corrupt guy like Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi in Algeria, and you work with what the materials you already have. Then it's extra believable. The devil's lies always have partial truth. You'll become like God if you eat this fruit, Eve. So it always works best that way. The CIA and the devil are like, the ways they work are very parallel. If you know Orthodox devilology, let's put it that way. Anyways, so I don't think Destiny had anything to do with it. However, I think that the main value of looking at this, even if that's the case, is that there's no reason why the FBI shouldn't be looking at this for all the reasons I'm about to say. And that's why it's so suspicious that they won't. Like, Candace thought this was an option. A lot of other YouTubers did. And TPUSA should have considered an option. And they're like, it was Tyler Robinson. We're not questioning that. They said that just recently. So first of all, like you said, Destiny said this horrible, violent stuff. He hates Charlie Kirk. They toured behind him doing the Un-F America tour. Like, all of this just ridiculousness. And and so there's that. Like, again, I forget, if you go watch YouTubers talk about this, they'll give you all these details. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I can give you enough. So first of all, Destiny's Discord server, Tyler Robinson's boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, is in that server and connected to that community. Tyler is not, but the boyfriend, I forget his name, is connected to that community. Yeah, someone can post in the chat if they know his name. Another guy that is in that Discord server is Hunter Kozaks. Hunter Kozaks, first of all, just a weird fact, is his dad is one of the writers for Jimmy Kimmel who got in trouble for stuff he said about Charlie Kirk. Hunter Kozaks was the guy he was part of the Un-F America tour. He's in the Discord server with Destiny. He's close knit to this community. He was the guy who asked the last question before Charlie Kirk was shot.
He was,
yes. Hunter Kozaks was there. He got in line and they screened the questions, and he lied and said he was going to ask something else about trans stuff. I forget what, but instead
he asked about gun
trans violence.
Trans violence, that was, yeah.
Trans gun violence, yes. Charlie answered that question and then was shot.
With the guise of trans violence, with a trans ideology guy shooting him.
Yes. Why doesn't Kash Patel want to at least look at this? So he is videoed in the audience. You can look up videos of this online. He is in the audience doing this.
It's not the guy. Was he really close to the guy that got up and started chanting, like celebrating?
He might be. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know the exact positioning, but he might be. But yeah, he's in. Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about that guy. And there's that guy. Like, he's like nothing on the radar, and he's just another data point. But Hunter Kozaks is going like this, and when Charlie is shot, he does it. It's like, it looks like he's practicing. Like, he's practicing being shocked. Later, he did like a video coping with all this stuff, and he said that he just heard people saying really dumb conservative stuff and was shocked. But yeah, it's like, really, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like that cognitive dissonance, like I'm doing mental gymnastics to try and accept that narrative. But it's really weird. There's another friend of theirs who sometime, I think in the last year, he's in the Discord server. I forget his name. You can look this up. he wrote a rap song called, and he's connected to Destiny and Hunter Kozaks and all of them. Charlie Kirk dead at 31. He wrote and released this song in the last year. So, and there's more about all of this, but like all of this is enough that the FBI should be like, hey, it could be Tyler Robinson, could be them, could be, they're connected. You know, he's dating one of the people in this community. They've said they were going to have violence. And then I remember the one other big thing that I wanted to mention. When Charlie is shot, that day, Destiny is doing a live stream. And this is footage you can go watch on YouTube. One of the people jumps onto his stream to talk with him, and he's like, hey, he's like streaming, gaming, whatever, and he's like, hey, what's up? And they're like, did you hear about what happened? And he's like, Charlie Kirk. And they're like, yeah. And he's like, dude, we're in so much trouble. And he's like, oh, because of, I can't remember what he says, but he says some like very neutral thing, just like, oh, because we don't like him. And he's like, no, because we, and then he gets disconnected by Destiny.
What?
Goes, yeah, I kid you not. And he goes, I'm going to respond to him on the Discord. And he turns to the side, he's like, and he comes back and he's like, so anyways, it just goes right back to the stream.
What a goblin, man, dude. That's insane.
It's super weird. Now, I will say, knowing all the other stuff I know and how many other people are suspicious, I don't believe it's them, even though this is all like good evidence that it could be. I wonder if the FBI knew they'd be like a good patsy. Like they existed, they had seen their Discord chats, they had joked about violence, all this stuff. I'm sure their Discord's full of it. So
it might be full of some glowies as well. And like even if it's Tyler, even if it's Mr. Robinson, like
Destiny's a card in the deck that you got a guy who anytime he could be a great patsy.
Right, you can brainwash somebody or like push them or nudge them in the right direction. With a certain level, depending on what you need, what's required of how much force you're going to use. So like a person could be leaving YouTube comments. A person could sort of friend you in a Discord and start being like, oh no, you really got to do something about this. You'd be a hero if you did something, and like or like posting, hey, he's going to be there at this time. I know you're nearby. Like it could be subtle nudges, and they could be doing that to dozens of people, and then seeing like kind of fishing which one's going to be the fall guy or whatever that's going to take up the mantle. But it's also, there's that level, but there's also the astroturfing these people like Destiny and Hassan Piker who are going to be putting into the zeitgeist this violence, putting into the zeitgeist that you'd be a hero for killing these people, or just the victimhood, the narrative of all the trans stuff, and these people are trying to keep them from being who they are. All that stuff plays psychologically into somebody that would go and do this. Whether that's the case or not, it was not Tyler Robinson at all. But that's why these, like the conspiracies can be somewhat decentralized. They can have like centralized pressure, but the person that wields the gun can be decentralized.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the goals, again, this is something I like, I could say the same thing about like how the devil works and how the CIA works, and like it would be, which one is he talking about? But creating division and chaos, creating confused narratives, lots of options, lots of Protestant psyops, like lots of theories. Like that alone is enough, because then we all fight with each other over.
That was one of those like CIA or devil Protestant denominations, because I mean, wasn't it? No, I think it was Rothschilds or somebody that put a lot of money into like creating different denominations and things even.
Yeah, it's wild. Like you can understand the CIA by studying the church fathers and like St. Paisios talking about the devil and how he works, and it's like, oh, it's like the CIA and Mossad. Like this is everything that you find out when you read about them. So yeah, like evil manipulation works the same everywhere, because you're preying on the same human weaknesses.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's why I always say like Candace Owens could be on the table, off the table. Like I don't really care, and making it all about her is just like misrepresenting what the concerns are. So yeah, I think the next place to go would be TPUSA and Erika.
Okay. Yeah, and I've had, like, I messaged you recently that I'm starting to get really weirded out by Erika Kirk. Like, I probably had a similar reaction to you. Charlie dies. She is a grieving widow, and she speaks on stage, and she forgives her, the murderer of her husband. And to me, it's like strange that she's on the stage or whatever. but okay, like that. Hey, that's good on her for doing that. And then the more she was in the light, more videos I saw, I was like, she should have just like gone away, because then I would not have had like any little bit of doubt at the time would have just like dissipated. But now it's just grown and grown and grown. I'm like, this person, all my Bitcoin on the table, I'd all in. She didn't give a crap about her husband's death. Like, it's clearly, I'm willing to make that bet. Like, from the way she acts and like her face, her expressions, her reactions to things, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked about on Twitter, which kind of led to this stream basically. When I heard about it, and this is everyone like this, it's weird because I've almost forgot this with all the stuff that's come out. But like when the shooting happened, everyone knew that just in your gut. I mean, it's already bad that like a man got shot. You probably saw it, and then like his kids, and like he was just having political conversations. Like I don't. I disagreed with him on Israel. I don't want him shot. Like, that's wild. But you, even more than that, it just felt like you had seen something evil, like something really evil. And I felt that weight on my heart, and a lot of people did. And then that first video of Erika Kirk, like the day after, I'm not sure, but she's at this podium talking about what happened. And I remember, like I'm invested and I feel so bad for this lady and whatever. But the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was she had this scowl that looked a little unnatural. I barely even processed it, but I remember at the time, like my brain was almost like, oh, like her face looks a little weird. And then you have the memorial some number of days later, which is like basically a Trump rally that's just Charlie Kirk themed, with fireworks and theatrics and
weird.
Yeah, weird. And again, that's a lot of the evidence here.
And I've heard my wife was saying something like that memorial was planned like a month or two before then, or things like that. I don't know if they like switched it, but my wife was saying like everything was booked and before, and like there's receipts. And this is tangential, but did you see that people were posting that like there was a book written and published on Amazon, like self-published, that was like the death of Charlie Kirk, and it got published like 3 or 4 days before. Like there's a bunch of weird things. I'm sure we could keep bringing back up.
I looked into that one at the time because that was so long ago now. And I think it was like the day before, and then people looked at time zone stuff and it kind of explained it. So yeah, I'm not sure. I remember seeing that and being like, what the heck is this? Yeah, it was the day before. So
depending on time zone, it might make sense, but still, to write a book that has to be like you just like AI'd a bunch of glop and put it on.
That's what it seemed like. It was like AI written too. So what it seems like is someone, the minute it happened, knew that it was like a cash cow and generated AI and immediately published it. Which would make a lot of sense. Like if I was a person without principles, that would be genius. Why would I not do that? So the memorial happens, and I remember watching her looking up and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be this guy. Again, my bias is against it. Like, I'm not like looking for conspiracy theory and psyops. I'm doing the opposite right now. I'm feeling the darkness, and I'm like, man, this looks weird. I get that out of my head. Like, I don't want that in my head, but this looks so weird. I'm having flashbacks to being an evangelical and all of the sex scandals and sleazy televangelists that I was raised with, and all the times, this guy comes out, that guy comes out, this guy comes out, and this way of speaking that's theatric and emotional, and I'm just seeing it when I watch her. And it was later that I went back and watched some of it, and I'm like, where are the tears? Where? And I'm looking close. I'm like, you're being a crazy conspiracy theorist.
It's like, to hedge that a little bit, I don't know how I would. I mean, I feel like I'd just be bawling and not be able to talk if my wife or child or something like that was publicly murdered and I had to talk on stage 3 days later or whatever.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't even be able to.
Person.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even be able to get much out. Yeah.
And yeah, there's no tears. And at first, like several of these videos, she's got this little thing and she's patting her eye, and she only pats one eye. Later, she starts patting both, and I think that's because she read about it. But in multiple of the videos, she pats one eye, and just one eye. There's no, like, if there were tears, you would pat the other eye. You would not need to remember to pat both eyes.
Right.
So it's like that further drives home that it doesn't seem like they're tears. And then also, if you want to force yourself to cry, looking up like dries out that region so it produces tears. And she's doing that all the time. And it's later videos where you do see some water appear there. Like you see her cry in some of the most recent videos. To me, it looks like she learned how to do it. But,
And she was an actor, right? Wasn't she an actor?
She was an actor, yeah. So now we can flip and go backwards. So what was she doing before this? Well, she was, and they've tried to delete a bunch of these photos, but there's screenshots from Facebook. She was traveling with Netanyahu's son and Tyler Boyer, doing Zionist propaganda stuff, defending Israel.
This is after Charlie's already started questioning.
No, this is before they're married.
Before they're married, because Nub, and I've seen the people say that their marriage was arranged, that they met in Israel, and that she was like also like in a beauty pageant for Trump or something like that.
So that comes right before too. She's in the beauty pageants for Trump, and suddenly she's scantily clad, like, to put it mildly. Like she has barely anything on, and then she's immediately the perfect TPUSA Christian evangelical trad wife who trusts God so much that she forgives the killer and all this stuff. It's like you were just like prostitute clothes and no repentance. Like if there was a story of repentance, this would make a lot of sense. But like this is just like you're playing whatever role you're in the moment. And so you're very close to Trump and in these pageants which is also Epstein recruits from. So it's a very weird place to be. But then you go before that and you have the Ukrainian Angels. Ukrainian Angels was an orphanage in Ukraine that was like helping kids find families that Erika Kirk was one of the faces of. She helped run it. It later came out that a local military general at a U.S. base in Ukraine was using that program to traffic children, and he went to jail for it. No talk of who was connected or the investigations. It was one of those buried stories.
Probably couldn't do it by himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How does Erika not know what's happening through her orphanage? So that's her like story arc before the Trump pageants and stuff. And then you go one stage earlier, which is her parents. There's probably other things people are going to keep uncovering as they research, like her weird history. But her parents, and this alone is wild. Her mom is Department of Defense, U.S. Department of Defense. Her dad is Raytheon leadership and helped build the Iron Dome. You literally couldn't have more American, Israel, wed together parents than that. Like the military industrial complex and the military industrial complex, US and Israel, wed together and had this woman who is an actor, comes off as an actor, connected to scandals, like places herself in position of Charlie, and now suddenly buries all of Charlie's heart, everything he cared about, and is like the defense barrier, the grieving widow, she's the October 7th for TPUSA. You can't criticize Israel, not only a Holocaust, but October 7th. Like, now you can't criticize TPUSA because that's attacking a grieving widow. It's a great psyop tactic, if it is, allegedly. Who knows what it is. But, yeah, it's very weird. And that's just Erika Kirk. And then you go through the other people in TPUSA. You have the amazing Mikey McCoy. Candace pointed this out, that anytime anyone talks about him, they have to put a little title on there about how great he is. They call him the hero of the day. I still don't know why he's the hero of the day. Candace doesn't know. Nobody knows. TPUSA hasn't said why he's the hero of the day. They just said
he's being propped up. I don't know.
Yeah. So what do we know about Mikey McCoy at the shooting? Charlie gets shot. He starts to fall over, and once you see the security kind of react, and then he slowly is going down, and they rush towards him and they kind of lower him the rest of the way. Before Charlie has reached the ground, in fact, I think before maybe a couple security guards or to him, I would have to rewatch the footage, but you can watch this. Before he has hit the ground, Mikey has turned and is on his cell phone. Like not even like speed dial doesn't explain that. He's like, you can see him in the back turn and pull his cell phone up to his ear and he's on the phone.
It would have already had to be a call that was already taking place, right?
Yeah, or he was like ready to dial. Like that's like you hit the button at your thumb and turned when you were ready for it. We have other footage from lots of other people that have been put together, and you can watch Mikey McCoy. This is the chief of staff for TPUSA. This is Charlie's right-hand guy. You can watch him walk at a leisurely, maybe a little bit fast pace as people around him are running. It's an active shooter. Who knows how many other people are going to get shot? It's within seconds. And he's on the phone walking. And he doesn't come near Charlie, and he moves off to the side as the security carries Charlie and puts him in a van and drives him to the hospital. Now, shortly after this has all happened, you have Mikey McCoy's dad, this super sketchy, military-connected Zionist shill pastor, Rob McCoy, say that Mikey called him immediately, which turned out to be a lie, and told him he was covered in blood because he was helping Charlie. He didn't go near Charlie, and we have that on video. And Rob McCoy later had to come out and say, "Oh, well, I misunderstood," or whatever. Somebody's lying. Maybe Mikey lied, or maybe he lied. I think he lied. He was just embellishing the story. But regardless, Mikey doesn't go near him, and somehow this became the detail for a little while that he was covered in blood because he was there with Charlie. As I said, outside of that blood splurt you see come out, there is no blood. If I'm wrong, I would love to know. Go tell me where you saw in the footage blood, because if the ballistics gel thing goes kaboom, there should be blood splatter everywhere. There should be blood all over. Charlie's head should have fallen off.
And another comment from Manuel earlier said, like, with those ballistics and like it can go through concrete and kill another guy and like it blows up the gelatin. He's like, well, you know, the way I was interpreting his comment was that, you know, we don't know all the variables that would make it where it wouldn't do that in this circumstance. But I mean, the power of a round isn't going to get changed by, especially that short of a distance. If it was from the rooftop to there, I can't think of anything that would slow it or stop the power of that round and make it less lethal or whatever.
The people on YouTube, the gun guys that have channels that are very well respected that did these tests, they do it from that range. Like, they're trying to replicate as much as possible exactly what happened.
So these are videos of people looking at that and recreating the distance and the angle and doing it. It's not like, oh, this is just me like finding footage of that round. This is people trying to recreate the shooting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the guys afterwards is like standing there with the gun after the head has exploded. And he's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to dispel the rumors, I guess. It just like obliterated it. And so, yeah, there should be blood everywhere. And there's stories of blood. And then later when the videos are being released, it's like, oh, we'll take backsies on that. And so, yeah, it's very weird with Mikey McCoy. And he turned out to be, I can't remember how long ago this was discovered. It turned out he was gay and had been hiding it and been having affairs with other TPUSA staff. Some of the staff that he had affairs with said he was aggressive, like it was unconsensual, some of the stuff he was doing.
He's a rapey gay?
Yeah, so he's gay. But anyways, but yeah, he was like, this is the alleged story from several people that had these experiences with him. So when his dad is this weird like liar, and I've watched his dad a couple of his little sermons since then, he weirds me out. Like the way Erika makes you feel weirder and weirder the longer you watch her in public, he is the same. I'm like, I recognize like narcissistic behavior of like someone who embellishes these stories and dramatizes them to make him sound like he's an amazing, virtuous man.
Right. Like I feel like Erika Kirk's like 6 months before I look at her and I just think of Kenneth Copeland. Like that's the acceleration of her weirdness and like just getting demonic vibes from her is getting.
Yeah, when you see the weird scowls on her face, even now, and when like she seems like she's acting, she seems like she's a speaker and she's being theatric. I don't get that from Candace. I get Candace as like a authentically annoying person. Like why would she act like that? Simply put. But again, she could be a psyop, but she does not act as weird as Erika. Erika tries to act perfect. Candace is annoying and belligerent and says dumb stuff sometimes, but has not been caught in a lie. I have not seen it. I've seen her make mistakes. She owns those mistakes. someone like tried to lambaste her because she got a time zone wrong, and she owned it, but she's like, why would this like debunk me? They're acting like I got a time zone wrong on a plane. Right. Why would that debunk me? But Erika, it's a very different presentation. And one thing Candace has uncovered while we're talking about Rob McCoy is that a bunch of the main pastors who are connected to TPUSA and they're one of their shell organizations, TPUSA Faith, they had a bunch of them that have formed, which is where Charlie was like, this is weird. Where's all this money going? He's not even connected to these now connected organizations. But a bunch of these pastors, they're in Calvary Chapel, and they are all active or former high-ranking military people. Some of them are in like psychological warfare. Some of them are in the Navy. Some are in Air Force, all these different high-ranking connections. And then suddenly they're pastors. And this is like classic CIA. Like look at the relation of the CIA and the Vatican. Dyer does a lot of videos about this. There's so many books documenting it extremely well. The CIA tries to infiltrate everything. We've had people, I'll just say this, we've had people that were obviously glowing at Saints Peter and Paul here in Salt Lake City, where they show up and they're asking questions, they're asking people's phone numbers, and it's like,
so how much do you love Putin? And would you how do you feel about Zelensky?
Yeah. Well, he pays me more than $7,000 a tweet, so he wins the bidding war for my soul. Yeah. So
is that real? Is that real? I've seen the meme, but are people actually getting paid?
I haven't looked into it. It seemed like there was evidence for it, but I haven't looked into it, so I can't say for sure. But I think it's possible that it is happening and that people showed it. So, there's a couple accounts on Twitter that are documenting when something about Candace comes out on one account. There's all these accounts that say variations of the same thing. Candace exposed for this, Candace exposed for that, and like do the same mudslinging and all this stuff. And so, there's definitely, like, who knows if these are bots? Like, I mean, you'd have to go investigate each one, but I saw screenshots of all these accounts doing these, like, slight variations of the same tweet at almost the same, like, within hours of each other. And so, there's, Israel has said, there's a video of Netanyahu saying, we have to control American social media image of Israel because that's basically how we get money. This is a video that was like this last year that was taken where he was talking to some like people at this meeting. And they bought, I believe Israel bought TikTok, if I remember right.
I think I heard something about it, but I didn't follow up with it.
And so they are actively influencers. One of the things they do, if you don't know about this, is they bring in all actors and stuff to Israel. They say free vacation to Israel, and they bring you, and then they're like, kiss the wall, hump the wall, like all this stuff. Like
keep the rapey gay away from the wall, though, just please.
Yeah.
But thank you, Paisius, for becoming a channel member. Go on.
Yeah, and those people go to Tel Aviv because it's the gayest city in the world. That's their word.
Is it the gayest city in the world? More than San Francisco?
That's a bragging thing they say. Tel Aviv, people in Tel Aviv have publicly said, like, we're proud to be the gayest city in the world. They're an LGBT city. I
was going to make a joke. I'll kind of explain it, but I'm not going to do it. It's when Tel Aviv got hammered by all those missiles, insert punchline here. You can figure it out. It was too obscene for me to actually say it. I have limits, but go on.
Yeah, many such cases. So Israel, Israel's like Charlie Kirk was saying, like, why are they funding all this leftist stuff? If you go to the University of Israel's scholarly journals that they publish, one of the main things you'll find there is all of these scholarly journals about how the Talmud teaches LGBT sexuality, and that when you do trans stuff in the bedroom, like one man pretends he's a woman, you're replicating the divine powers of God.
This is Kabbalah. This is like the Crowleyan sex magic.
Yeah, and it's published from the University of Israel. They're a leading force publishing this stuff in the world.
They're not beating any of the allegations of subversion.
No, they're publishing them in scholarly journals, their own allegations. So. So this is, of course, a theme. So, there's just so many connections with just all of this stuff between people in TPUSA, like different actors, all related to all of this, and Israel directly connected. There's the Egyptian planes thing, which is one of those things that's weird, and the weirdest thing about it is that TPUSA doesn't want to talk about it.
So the only thing I know is my wife was watching Candace earlier before we jumped on, and she kept saying Egyptians planes. I have no idea what she was talking about.
Yeah, and it's become a meme, and they mock her to bits, but they don't respond to it. It's a valid thing. So Candace and some other people were tracking flights that were at the airport. When
okay,
Charlie
I think I did hear
shot.
about this.
Yeah, and one of the tags was this Egyptian military plane that was like kind of like some of the data was blocked, so it was very much like some kind of government thing. And Egypt is heavily tied to Israel, so if it's something from Egypt, it's like could be Israel stuff. Valid question there. So they start tracking it, and they find out it correlates like what airports it's at correlates with like 35. It's like 30 or 40 events that Charlie Kirk is at. And she's like, wow, that's really weird. I want to know more about these Egyptian planes. Like, what are they doing? Are they like, Israel donors that are there going through Egypt? Like, why are they government stuff? It's very strange. Well, one of the people that is in her audience does a bunch of research and goes, it's not Charlie, it's Erika. They correlate with 60 plus events over the last several years that Erika is at. This
Like
Egyptian
handlers
plane
or something?
there. What was that?
Like her handlers or something?
Who knows? But it is weird. Why would the same Egyptian plane correlate? Not like Charlie, I can kind of make that make sense. Erika, it's like, what? Why?
I mean, I didn't really. She was not on my radar, and probably not most people's radar before the assassination. I like, oh yeah, like he dies. I'm like, oh okay, reading like, oh, he's married, he's got kids, and I didn't know her name until probably the memorial.
And then suddenly she's a trad wife girl boss, which is like kind of cross-wired there. Like she's this girl boss, doesn't have to grieve very much, like immediately takes over and has a completely opposite agenda of Charlie. And so, yeah, again, it's like none of this stuff is Candace Owens. Like none of this stuff is crazy and psychotic. People are like, there's no proof. And I'm like, this is enough. Like what I've said so far. And there's way more than this. There's the security guard. The security guard who failed Charlie basically goes on and does this interview that you can watch where it's just like this huge cope fest where he's coming up with all these reasons why they failed, why they didn't do this, why, and he lies and says they couldn't have drones and there were no drones there. Well, later people go dig up where Frank Turek says that they had drones there taking footage, and someone found the footage. So there's proof. The security guard is lying, the head security guard. And that guy was a hostile takeover. Charlie had this one guy that was in charge with these other guys under him, and they were friends of their boss. And then they went to Charlie and outbid their own boss and took over and became his security team. And then they're the ones that ran all this.
It wasn't Jocko Willick's security team. I kept seeing people say it was, but I saw later it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that video is very, very strange. And a lot of stuff he says is like, this doesn't quite add up. But when all of this stuff, you add it all up, all of it is like, this is not wild, crazy conspiracy theories, especially if you know anything about Israel and the CIA. Like, it's not at all unreasonable. And the most weird thing is that TPUSA avoids all of these, even like the destiny angle. Like, they're saying the FBI is unquestionable, and the FBI is saying all of this is unquestionable. They're saying we can't release most of the evidence because it would taint the jury pool. It's like, how would proving it and resolving all these questions with all the videos you have that you're hiding, why would that taint the jury pool?
So I also like
it's the opposite.
Haven't kept up with enough. Has there been like a trial yet with Tyler Robinson and all the evidence presented? I don't think that's happened yet, right?
Yeah, and they're saying parts of the trial won't even happen till May. The first videos of Tyler Robinson in court, because the judge, here's another weird angle, the judge said no cameras in the courtroom and gag order on anyone who was at the event. You cannot talk about it. And so the video footage that we have is all before that gag order. And there were some people who didn't know about it and released it. And when the FBI saw it, they went to them and were like, get rid of that. And so some guys, like there's videos of guys saying, hey, that video I uploaded yesterday, the FBI told me I'm not allowed to put it up. And so I removed it. But, it leaked. So all the videos we have are from a time window because this judge put a gag order, which is like, why? When has this ever happened?
Wouldn't
Like
you
you have a
want
shooting of a public figure and you have to hide all that.
wouldn't you want the hive mind of the internet to like have this stuff disseminate, get processed, people following up links like the guy with TPUSA driving to the house and seeing, or driving to the location of the business, seeing it's not there. Wouldn't you want free resources to track all these different things down?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is where the whole like don't question Erika, she's grieving falls apart, because if you were Erika, you would be like, "Wait, what? Charlie was right. We do need a Doge style audit. That's super weird." No, they will not even talk about anything they don't have an answer to, and half their answers are dumb. Like when you listen to them answer, you're like, so Erika, like in this last week, responded to the Egyptian planes thing. Finally, it's been like a month or two. Candace has been pushing. Like, why won't you guys answer this? Why won't you guys just tell us what? Like, do you know anything? Whatever. Like,
Well,
why
Manuel
aren't you
says it might be her slaves just carrying all of her bags for her.
Yeah, yeah. She said this was her response. She goes, "Why would they?" I'm paraphrasing, but she basically says, "Why would they?" Or she goes, "Why would I be on an Egyptian plane? I was pregnant at the time." And it's like, no one
That's
said
not
you were on an Egyptian plane. That's a classic form of deflection, is responding to a different question.
reframing it. Yep.
Yeah, and they do this all the time. This is like a bunch of Candace has gone through. One of the things they don't do is they don't respond to Candace. They don't engage with her stuff. They've recently been coming up with these weird copy ways to not engage her stuff while looking like they are. But Candace, she plays one of their video clips all the way through and pauses and responds and pauses. She dissects and faces every word they say. She once in a while apologizes. So again, this could still be a psyop. Like, I'm not Candace being a psyop's off the table.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like Erika and Candace are in cahoots, like doing kayfabe, or is it she's just trying to drive the narrative in a certain way? Is it that there's what do you mean by Candace might be a psyop? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, when I approached, so I actually worked. I worked at this class, Thaddaeus lore here. I worked as a legislative aide to a state representative in Washington State. I worked in Olympia and in Spokane, back and forth, depending on if the legislative session was happening. And I saw just like the total corruption on the state level, just of like people being in office who are not like they don't believe what they're there for. They're there as a campaign on both sides of the aisle. And that was when I got like, this was shortly after becoming Orthodox, and I was black. I was already not liking politics anymore because I was raised with a lot of it. And then I was black pilled. And in fact, this case, I'll say I'm only following it because it's so interesting to me. I don't think I'm going to make a difference in the world. Like talking about it, except maybe like,
right.
Here.
Well, I was thinking about it before we got on that, like, oh, we're going to go talk about like real world stuff, but it does feel like most things in politics, or high percentage of them, it's like the thing that's being played for us on the stage. But even though it's like real world and has real world impacts and stuff, it does feel like that next episode, we're waiting for the next episode to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember my boss, and this is part of why I dove into those details, but my boss, the representative I worked for, who, you Google him and get some weird articles from back when he was in office, but he, that's a whole story time for another situation. But he asked me once, he said, he goes, my legal name's Shay, if anybody doesn't know that, but he goes, Shay, how do you know who to trust? And I said, simple. I don't trust anybody. Like, not like paranoid, skeptical. I'm just like, I don't trust anybody. I'm like, who knows who you are? Like, this, and he liked that answer. He's like, I guess that's fair. That works. But like, that's how I am. Like, I'm like, I've had people that I trusted who betrayed me. I've got my flaws. I know my heart and the icky things in there. Like, I know what I confess to my priest. My priest knows, like none of us are trustworthy except for the saints. Like that's again, another story for another time, but I had some people in Orthodoxy that betrayed me. It was a really awful monastery experience I had, and it really broke me for a little while. It was one of those like real dark night of the souls where I was like, is God even real? And I was just like, I don't trust anyone except for the saints. I don't trust me. Like I like went through a stage of like I'm scared of my parents for like 24 hours. Like, and my parents are wonderful. Like it was a very intense time. And so like by nature, I question everything. I question myself. I always say that the difference between a good and bad skeptic is a good skeptic adds himself to the list of things to be skeptical about. the bad atheist skeptic is like doesn't actually think that they could be
Right.
wrong.
I'm skeptical about the Bible and the narrative and your religion, but I will never, ever even think or even like understand that I could question my own position or my own thoughts or anything. Like I would like, what do you mean? Like I could never even think about that
stuff too. Like it's my interpretation can't be wrong. Scripture interprets scripture, and
Right.
I'm like, we're both reading the same scripture. I'm using scripture to interpret it. You're using
100%. Yeah,
it's cope. So
epistemic
anyway.
blindness.
Yeah. So this is how I approach like pretty much everything. But so it's going back to your question. It's tough because, you know, I'm going to think that way whether there's a theory or not. But I will say, like I kind of established earlier, the 101 of anything is just creating chaos for people to fight. You know, and people, you go on Twitter and look at this stuff. I recommend not doing that. I actually blocked a bunch of people who were just getting in debates all the time because it was working me up. I can watch I can watch the YouTube videos where people analyze it and I don't get worked up. But if I watch the people like mudsling and say stupid stuff and say Candace hasn't presented any evidence whatsoever, and I'm like, like she's like it's all like secret sources. And I'm like, yeah, she says I have this source. That's fair to not believe any of those. Totally fair. But it's the other stuff, and you're saying there's none, which means you didn't even try and look, is what I'm getting.
Well, I've noticed
if you don't
that.
Want to watch Candace Owens, fine, but don't have a strong opinion. If you're going to say she's an idiot and you haven't even heard what she has to say, that's ridiculous. That is when I stopped, when I don't like you and I don't trust you. So I had to block a bunch of those people for my own peace. Like St. Isaac the Syrian, quoted by my patron saint, says, "Don't trade your peace for anything in this world." And I was like, this is destroying my peace. This is working out my passions. I cannot do that anymore. Yeah. But when I saw it, it was just like, I could see how this is like both sides are controlled opposition. I still think Candace might be legit. The annoying people I've learned are the ones I trust more. Tucker Carlson with his his annoying laugh. Like if there's anyone that is real, it's like Candace and Tucker, but they might be psyops. Absolutely.
Right. It's like you wouldn't pick this rifle to shoot a guy if it blows people's heads up. You wouldn't if you were in on it, you wouldn't walk calmly through the crowd that everybody's running and pretend you got blood all over yourself. If you were a psyop, you wouldn't like have this ridiculous laugh, would you? Like you wouldn't pick that laugh, would you?
Yeah, you wouldn't download a car. You wouldn't shoot a policeman. So actually, I would download a car. But anyways, yeah. So it's like who knows what it is, but there's definitely evidence. Like if there's like I keep saying, if I know TPUSA is something is wrong, and I know Tyler Robinson is not the lone shooter. He may have done it. He may not. There's one other option here, and this will sound wild to people. It sounds wild to me when I say it out loud. There is also the option and the evidence, and there's a little bit more evidence. Well, there's a lot more, but there's a little bit at least I want to talk about for sure. There's also the possibility that Charlie Kirk is alive.
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
That's a wild narrative. Absolutely. Like it's like, really?
Well, okay. With that, my wife, I haven't gone back and seen the footage, but she was saying that you can look at the videos and footage or pictures of Erika and Charlie before the assassination, and his hands are significantly bigger than hers, like when they have their hands next to each other. And then when he's in the casket and she's saying her final goodbyes to the casket, to the body in the casket, her hand is like the same size or slightly bigger than his. And my wife says that Charlie's hands in the casket look like plastic or they don't look real. They don't look like a human. They wouldn't look like a corpse's hands. They look
something looks weird about him. And it's like, okay, he's dead, but it still looks so weird. And also, as many people have pointed out, what a weird move to be like, hey, I'm having an emotional moment. Come video this. Like, or I guess someone did it like without her permission. I mean, what the?
And it's like another part of me could hedge that in a little bit. Like, have you seen the meme where it's like it says object and it's just a woman's face in front of it, like smiling? Like women have this urge to just like this thing's getting attention. Let me get the attention instead.
Yeah,
like
there
is that, but
it's so strange. Yeah, well, but it's like in the middle of like what's supposed to be like wild, convulsive levels of grief that you're not allowed to criticize her. It's so intense. Has to video this. And that's strange. And then there's the fact that, well, I already talked a little bit about it. I just didn't cover the implications. This would explain TPUSA's weird behavior if any of them are in on it. This would explain that. It would be like, okay, this is why Mikey McCoy was ready to make a call the minute he's like, it's happened. Like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Like, it's, here, we're ready to go. But it's no blood. I challenge anybody, like, and I literally, I'm like saying this knowing like, man, someone could send it to me and I'm gonna get cognitive dissonance, but do it, please, so I stop making a fool of myself. If there's footage of any blood anywhere in all of these videos that leaked before the gag order, show me. I want to see it. I only know about the little blood splurt, which looks like, well, anyways, I'm gonna get to that. No blood anywhere. And then there's the video. We get the security guards, one of the people taking video, the security guards are carrying Charlie. They've surrounded him. That would make a lot of sense if he's not dead. They surround him so you can't like see or get in. And they carry him like this wall of security.
Right.
They get to this van, and as they're getting close, up run 2 paramedics. These paramedics have their trauma gear in a bag with them. The trauma gear is the best thing that could ever happen to someone in Charlie's position.
Right.
And they run up and think they're going to get through the security guards to help Charlie, and the security guards won't break the wall. And they kind of like step back a little bit, and the security guards load Charlie into the van and get in with him. The paramedics go to get into the van and then step back, and the door closes and it drives off. And they're standing there holding the bag, wondering what the heck is going on. And you could see this. When I saw this video, I was like, this is one of the weirdest things in the whole case, is this footage right here. Why would they not let them in? And then there is a hospital that is the closest hospital that has a trauma center that's perfect for this. They do not go to that one. They go to one that's further. And some of the doctors are, as I understand, some of the staff there are like new, recent hires, which is like, okay, that's suspicious. And then the story, I forget all the details. If you go watch other YouTubers, you can get the details on this. But the simple version is, it's been reported by some of the staff that work at this hospital that the security guards had scrubs on and blocked the doors so that people couldn't get in, including some of the staff. Some of the staff were going there like, no, you can't go in here. And it's like the guys who carried Charlie away in blue scrubs, like guarding the door. So there's like, and there's no video footage like from the hospitals. There's also there's no video footage of when Tyler supposedly turned himself in. People did FOIAs to try and get the footage of Tyler turning himself in, and the police station said no such footage exists, and that's it. That's all they would say.
Right.
And so like there's all this missing paper video trails that should be there, these weird choices that are made the whole way as if Charlie's alive. And okay, Charlie's alive, what the heck would that be? Well, there's a bad version and there's a good guy version. The bad psyop is like, trying to incite us to violence and chaos because we hate the trans people. The
other way, it incited violence and hatred in the trans people, because I was not expecting all of these videos of people saying I would have pulled the trigger myself. I'm glad he's dead. Like, I'm not a bad person for wishing it, like for wanting him dead. Like, he has a wife and kids. So what? Hitler had people that loved him, whatever.
So there's that, but I don't really buy that. That's not the more realistic narrative. What's something like this? I call it the good guy psyop. Charlie talked constantly. You can find his tweets. You can find videos. Charlie talked constantly about JFK and him getting assassinated. And we find out officially the last couple of years, Israel absolutely confirmed to have something to do with it. Now he's doubting Israel. He's questioning Israel. He's now pushing back on Israel. He's saying, I'm done with these donors. They're literally acting like the stereotypes. He said that. Like, they're acting like
Right.
People hate Jews and they make these stereotypes and they're acting like that. It's like the wheels are, he's starting to notice like, oh, they're acting like what everyone says they act like. Why would they do that? It's like, maybe everyone was right. So he's noticing now, and he knows that if you stand against them, you get JFK'd.
Yeah, didn't he say that he was worried that his donors were going to kill him?
That's what I'm getting to. And then eventually he says that, where he's like, and recently, this is another important note, about a week ago, Erika denied that he had ever said that or anything like that. She's like, I have his phone. He never said any of that. Well, Candace and a bunch of other people will go, rewind. Like, here's Frank Turek saying that he messaged him that he was afraid that they were going to kill him. Candace is like, I heard from this guy from TPUSA. Like, there's evidence of this. And TPUSA, just like, I think I heard today, they had to backpedal on this and be like, oh, yeah, I guess he did say that. After Erika doubles down that he didn't say that. So how do you take this down? If they killed JFK, how much control do they have now?
So are you saying, with this theory, is it Charlie's faking his own death to get spotlight on all the Israel stuff?
That's a theory, yes. I'm not saying that. I think that I don't know enough to say that. I'm saying that's a sound theory or some version of that. And I say this not for any other reason than when you look at all the evidence and you try to create a coherent theory, this is the most coherent.
Right, because I think I could play it the other way of, like, let's say, if Charlie is, well, there's different, like, potential variables. Like, if Charlie is in on it and he's alive, you have that theory where he is doing this to expose the things he's seen, and he's afraid that he's going to get killed anyway. So what's the best way to try to protect himself when he's a public figure that his whole job is to be in public, is to get himself out of the public, faking his own death so then he can go quietly away someplace or something. And maybe everybody and if it's not public knowledge that he's alive, then they would be necessarily going after him. But then there's the other option, and then
of, like, stir your friend Candace to go batshite on him, like, and push it and whatever. He knows that Candace is going to do that, whether she's in on it or not. Your wife Erika, hey Erika, remember how we weren't going to accept any of that money from Israel? Accept all of it. Let Israel pull puppet strings and let people watch. Like, that's exactly what's happening. Now she's like, Shabbat Shalom. Like, all this Israel stuff.
That's the stuff that's incongruent to me is the Shabbat Shalom stuff. Like, it makes me wonder, like, was this lady married to him? Like, what was that last month?
She talks
of him
more
questioning
about Israel and Old Testament than she ever does Jesus Christ. Like, very little Jesus, lots of stuff Jews talk about. Is
that an act, or is she just a full believer, like, basically just a Jew, basically?
Yeah, I mean, if he's dead, it sounds like that. If he's alive, it seems like it could be part of the psyop, the good guy psyop, theoretically. Again, I know, I say it, and I'm like, I sound crazy. But it literally, if you just take the facts of the case, it is the narrative that makes the most sense out of all the details. Like, him being shot. Here's another thing that came out in the last few. It's been out a while, but it's just starting to get popular. This guy tried to get it out, and you just have to get YouTubers to pick you up. And then the YouTubers. Jesse on Fire, I Am Coach Colin. He's my favorite. I Am Coach Colin. I think Candace mentioned it in one of her recent streams. Valhalla, all these guys that are just doing all these videos. There's so many of them now because so many people are like, this is wild. This is enough to, like, fill my whole channel with content because it's so wild. There's this German audio technician who took every video online that he could find that has the shot occurring in it. There's a bunch of them. I think he takes 12 in the document that he has, but there's more. So maybe not all of them, but there's 12 he takes, and he does the calculations, and he shows you. He has all the numbers. Like, he has a spreadsheet you can look at, and people are looking through it and testing it and whatever. So again, like, take his word for it. Or if you don't know how to do the math, but a bunch of people could easily, believe me, there's bulldogs out there looking to defend TPUSA if it's possible. They're looking for everything if they can find it. So anyways, he's got this document with all these calculations on it you can look at, and he shows you this diagram that's like the head overview of all these little pinpoints of where each video person was at when they took that video. And then he does the calculations of when the shot happens in the video, and he calculates all this out, and he has these little triangles that you can adjust based on where the shot would be moving, that he lines up with where the shooter is said to be, where that person is, and where the audio suggests the bullet went based on that like tri-positioning. Like, you can triangulate. And every single one, when he places it over and he shows how he does the calculation, does not go towards Charlie. This is crazy. Here's another whole new angle here. It doesn't go towards Charlie. All of them go to the side, like 20-ish feet. And so he's like, they all go to this spot over here, over to the side of Charlie. And he looks in some of the videos, and there's a couple videos of what's in that spot. One of the videos, very shortly before the shot, there is a minivan backed up with the back open and two of the security guards standing at the sides of it. And there is another video shortly after the shot, during the chaos, that pans over, and that van is now shut, and the two security guards, everyone's running, the two security guards are still standing next to it. And he proposes there is a realistic possibility that the bullet goes into ballistics gel, because you can get these massive cubes of ballistics gel. You could just fire, even a 30-08 round, it'll stop it. But I don't even know if it's a 30-08 round. Like, it doesn't even have to be at that point. But that the shot would have been fired in that ballistics gel, and then they closed the trunk and then carried Charlie away.
So then it would have been just a shot to go off to get the effect of hearing a bullet go off, hear the noise of it, and then you have a squib go off?
Yeah. And if you see, again, I said earlier we were going to get to it. When you see people who have those Hollywood prosthetics that have a bullet come out, that's what it looks like to me. Like, it's totally realistic that it's that. It doesn't look to me like a shot goes through his face and hits his C2 and then the wild narrative. It looks like, and then they carry him off. And where's all the blood that's supposed to be there? So it really is like suspicious. Also, another fact I forgot, this is one of the big ones. Let's go back to 9/11. 9/11, as soon as the towers fall, like within 24 hours, the news reporters, there's footage of this, are like, yeah, they're carrying all the debris away.
Yeah, I remember.
Immediately, they carry it all off and they ship it to other countries. Before there's analysis, before there's anything, all the stuff you would do, like if you're a sincere investigator, what do? Lock everything down.
Everyone out. Let's
we're
just
seeing what
get
the
in
hell
there.
happened. We're doing data. We're taking samples. We're looking at the explosions. We're doing all these. We're getting experts in. This is what should have happened with the Charlie Kirk situation. That should have been a crime scene for maybe a couple weeks. Like they should.
Well, didn't they immediately tear it down and start scrubbing and didn't they start doing construction?
Paved over it within days.
Yeah, it's pretty sus.
You can look at photos of it now that students have taken. They paved over it in days. That is the opposite of what you would do if it is a real situation. Whether Charlie was shot, this isn't tied to that or not. That is wildly suspicious. But they just immediately covered over it. So weird.
Right.
Yeah,
it's all these details that they don't make sense unless it's a cover up. But if it's a cover up, why is it so obvious and not? Is it because they think if we look at these details and they're obvious that we'll sound insane for saying there's something going on?
Well, and this is why one of the classic things, the joke is like, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy is 6 months or years or whatever. If you go study the history, one book, if anyone, I really want to plug this book. If you or someone that you care about and love, one of your loved ones, really needs just the simple, accessible, digestible red pill and they don't know anything, Father Spiridon Bailey's book, Orthodoxy in the Kingdom of Satan. It's kind of like a sequel to Orthodoxy and Religion of the Future, but this book, Father Spiridon, if you've ever watched him on YouTube, he's like this little gentle woods priest that gives you 15 minutes of spiritual advice. People dug up, investigating him, dug up videos of him playing Grateful Dead songs on his guitar. He's wonderful. And he had so many parishioners in the UK asking him what's going on in the world that he went himself. He's just the most trustworthy guy. This is the one guy in the whole universe who is not a psyop. And he goes and researches it all, and he just writes this book just for his parishioners to just know what's going on. It's 40-something little mini chapters, easy to read, that's the UN, Israel, all these just little topics. You can read all of it. And so he's where I learned about some of this stuff, even though I was pretty, red-pilled conservative growing up. I gave that book to my dad, who was a Zionist since before I was born, and he was like, I can't be a Zionist anymore. I can't even listen to talk radio anymore. He's a talk radio guy. That book ruined it for him. So get that book. Like it's like if you just need the basics, I always tell people read that book and then don't have anything to do with politics. That book will tell you enough of what you need to know, and then you could be done. Like it's wonderful. But one of the things he talks about, getting back to our situation here, is that one of the best ways to gaslight people is you deny while they say, no, we know something's up. We're not going to lie to ourselves. We believe our eyes, blah, blah, blah. And then you come out some number of years later and just say like, oh yeah, it turns out that's true. And now it's like Saul Alinsky, if you know who that is, like that, manipulation. Now, if you talk about it, what does everyone else do? Yeah, we all know this.
Yep.
What value is it? I mean, we all know Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Like, didn't kill himself. We all know he killed himself. Yeah, definitely. Right. Let's algorithms. He definitely did, but he didn't. And so, like, but what does it matter? We like that's one of the most widespread things that kind of we all know. Even the left knows it, the right knows it. Like, and it's nothing. The only reason this Charlie Kirk stuff is living on is mainly because of Candace Owens. And she's the number one podcaster in the world.
Which is crazy.
Now.
She's above Joe Rogan. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And Joe suddenly, after he pushed the MAGA people, suddenly kind of was like disappearing from the limelight a little bit. So, yeah, suddenly we have Candace Owens, which is like, wow, this is both, maybe symbolic of like the fact that we're not going to be lied to anymore, or it's a psyop. Who knows? But I will say, kind of summing all this up, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever studied. That's why I'm into it. I don't care about politics. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'm pretty black-pilled on all of it, and I thank God every day for that I don't really care. But I'm like, yeah, it's like a little puzzle, like, ooh, my true crime, whatever. It's active. It's happening. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, this is weirder than JFK. This is weirder than 9/11. Like, there's so many details of little lies and like I remember looking into it, and as more stuff's coming out, I'm like, how many narratives are possible here? Like, there's TPUSA as money laundering, there's Israel, right. There's Destiny and his crew. Like, there's all this just wild stuff. There's George Zinn, the shoot me guy we talked about at the beginning. Like, I've never seen anything like
this. Wasn't there an additional Patsy too that they wrangled up and then released right after that?
There might be. I don't know about it if there is.
I think there was. Yeah, I don't know. I think there was.
Yeah, so yeah, this is so weird, and even recent stuff, like you got Tim Pool acting really weird, where I was going to
bring him up. Yeah,
crashes out, just like flips his lid on,
and changes the narrative. Like he started screaming about Candace Owens, saying that she's doing this on purpose to destroy the right, to fragment everybody. That TPS USA is. Yeah, TPSU is doing all this. TPSUA is doing all this great stuff, and she's just, why is she doing that? Like, stop! Even if there's something weird going on, just let them do the good. They're on your side. And he's saying like, you don't have any security guards. You have one fat security guard that doesn't do anything, and a week later he's like, she's got all the same. She has the same security guards that Charlie Kirk has. She has the same company. She has all the security. It's like he's changing the narrative, and he's just wildly emotional. I'm not sure why.
Well, also one YouTuber guy pointed out, I think this was Jesse on Fire was pointing out, if you wanted someone to go after Candace, wouldn't you say something like that? You would be like, she just has one fat black guy.
Yeah,
like that's true. Intel. You just threw intel out there while simultaneously emotionally charging people. So that's just speculation, but that's the kind that's worth thinking.
That's like what we were talking about earlier, like the CIA tactic of planting nudges, like, hey, they're going to be there next weekend. Somebody, like, there's a great vantage point from this tower. Hell is a never-ending Tim Pool podcast.
Just him crashing out eternally. The eternal crash out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire, brimstone, and eternal crash outs. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to Tim Pool very much. I've never been a fan of him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive.
Yeah. Did you hear something about Erika Kirk? My wife, hopefully she's listening. She knows more. Like, it was either she has some connection to some like cryogenic freezing company or something.
I don't know about that.
I should have asked her more about it. She mentioned it before I got it. She got to bring this up. I don't know. Let's see if it pops up. You go on. I'll listen while I'm trying to figure this out.
John.
Bye, John.
Yeah, I was thinking about this is kind of when you learn the history stuff, like I said, that you have these archetypes that once you learn them, you watch for them because that makes sense. And you have I think his name's what's his name? Somebody Herzl in the 30s, the Zionist who said the anti-Semites will be our best friends. And he talks about, like, it's this Zionist guy who says this is to our advantage that we have these enemies because they're our cover. We can blame them. They're a scapegoat in a way. Right. Continuing their Old Testament traditions, the scapegoat, put all the sins on them. And you even have a rabbi recently who said it was a French rabbi. This video I watched on YouTube and I had to put on the subtitles. But he says that Islam is the broom of Israel. Where it's just like the CIA, wherever Islam is, that justifies us going in and taking it over. We're with Lebanon, we're at war with Iran, we're at war with Syria. That's so convenient. And we know Netanyahu armed armed Hamas many years ago. And so this is a conscious tactic. And I think really interesting, this is something maybe some, Zionist person can answer this for me. And I'm just asking questions here. But I like to ask, do you know what Holocaust means? Do you know what that word means? It means sacrifice.
Right.
Who named it that? I could see why the Nazis would name it that, but then the Zionists wouldn't use that term. Why do they call it the sacrifice? What's it? A sacrifice is for something. You give up something for something. And I think, my speculation, is that these people were a sacrifice in their eyes. And actually, Father Spiridon talks about how the Zionists led to all these Jews being locked inside Germany when it was hostile. And Germany's like, we want them to leave. And the Zionists actually actively kept them locked in. So the Zionists are, what's the term I want? They participated in this. They're culpable morally for what happened, for the Holocaust. And then these people function as a sacrifice. Now, what they earn, this magic, this occult magic, is that they can use this death to insulate themselves. Like I said at the beginning, emotional insulation. Anyone comes and questions, and you can say the Holocaust, October 7th, these people are a sacrifice to your Zionist cause. This is a problem they had in the Old Testament, sacrificing their children to Moloch. Right. The theme is continued. And so, you see this a lot. Sacrifice. The Talmud says you've got to sacrifice the best of the Gentiles. And then, you have lots of mysterious deaths with celebrities who are under, Jewish record labels and Jewish movie studios and stuff like that. So, there's a pattern there of it is advantageous for them to be hated. It is advantageous for them to promote anyone who's already hateful. Have you seen the recent stuff about Nick Fuentes?
Which things?
In the past couple weeks, some people are saying he's a psyop, which people have always said that, and I'm like, who knows? But the one that got me, Nick Fuentes is one of those guys who he says stuff, I'm like, that's horrible. Then he says it's a joke, and then I'm like, I think I believe him. And some of the stuff he says makes sense. I get it. I get why people are groypers. Some of the groypers are nasty. Some of them are.
If you give it the benefit of the doubt that it is a joke, sometimes you listen to him. He is pretty funny. He's got really good timing.
Oh, the video of him playing Grand Theft Auto, where he calls the rabbi Ben Shapiro and chases him around and begs him to debate him, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I recommend watching it. I saw it a few weeks ago. And at the end, he runs down this alley and he runs into the rabbi. He's like, Ben, finally, you can debate me. Stop running. I don't want to hurt you. Debate me. And the cops come around the corner and glitch out and shoot the rabbi. And Nick flips out and is like, no, Ben was my friend. I was going to debate him finally. And chases them down and kills all of them. Avenges Ben Shapiro in Grand Theft Auto. It's so funny. It's so funny. But Nick is entertaining. Yeah. Just said in the chat. Absolutely. January 6th. Anyone who is remotely connected, all these people get arrested. They just are in the building, and they're arrested. And there's this one guy who is on video being one of the instigators. He's one of the people who actually says break in, all this stuff, tells people to do crazy stuff. They don't touch him. and he turns out to be a Fed.
Mhm.
Well, someone found this photo this video that was around at the time, and so the Feds definitely had it if they're combing through the stuff and digging up every person, of Nick saying the same stuff. He's got a megaphone, and there's video footage of him go.
He was there at Jane 6.
What was that?
He was there at Jane 6.
And he's
Jane
going,
6.
break in, the capital's ours now, take over. Like, he's saying all this crazy stuff, and nothing happened to him. And I'm like, that's a good case that he is a Fed. And he plays the role of the nemesis. He plays the role, this person who says outrageous stuff and causes chaos and stirs people to be outrageous. Like, he plays that best friend of Herschel, the Zionist guy. Like, he plays that role perfectly. Nick Fuentes is the scapegoat for all of this. So he might not be. I'm not saying he is, but there is grounds absolutely to suspect that he is a Fed. And so I will say, because I'm kind of covering all my bases if I forget stuff. I mentioned at the beginning, there's a couple weird things about Candace. The weirdest one to me is that whenever you see someone saying they care about something, some cause, some evidence, and then a subject gets brought up and they will not engage it, always a red flag. Always a red flag. It might be nothing, but it's at least a yellow flag. Let's put it that way, where you're like, what? She absolutely will not entertain that Charlie's alive. If someone brings it up, she goes, that's crazy, and then she fast forwards. She dissects the crap out of everything else, and she will not engage with that. And I'm always like...
So do you think that's evidence that he is alive and she knows?
That's one option. Who knows? But it is weird. It is weird. Like that neutral space where you're like, I don't know, but something's wrong here. Like that's really, really weird. And she has a couple other of those. I forget what they were, but there's a couple things where I'm like, oh, she deflected that. Like, she's really, unlike TPUSA, who's like 95% deflection, she's just like 5%. And that 5% stands out to me. So, yeah, very, very strange stuff.
Well, I think, like we talked about with him, I think there's all these variables and some of the different theories or potential paths of what is real. I think some of the variables could line up, and but they couldn't line with other potentialities. Like, let's say Charlie is alive, and why would he have done that? Well, it could have been that he is, like we talked about with exposing Israel, or it could just be. Well, the thing that's incongruent about this part is if it was him thinking, I want more money, or now we're going to 150% increase our revenue, the month of him being open and questioning the JQ doesn't make sense to me with that narrative. Like, that sounds incongruent.
I think that sets up... I think the scandal is part of it, and you know that... if I'm in that position, so I always say, if I know it, they know it, like, for sure. I know if you have an enemy that hates you and you set them up, give them, you spoon feed them reasons to be suspicious, they'll attack you more, and your donors will double down on supporting you. When you're defending someone who you think it's an injustice, you actually, it's a more intense reaction. So if Charlie had just been killed, it would be a strong reaction. But if you create conflict combined with that, I'm just speculating, but I think that could make sense.
It made me way more sympathetic to him.
For a good reason makes more sense to me.
Right. It made me way more sympathetic. He made him more sympathetic to me, seeing all this footage of the last month of him being alive, and made me go, okay, he was way more genuine, and he was actually seeking truth. But then, I guess we could be skeptical and say maybe that was part of the act, like him setting that up to be Israel's the fall guy for this fake assassination. I don't know. Yeah, there's weird evidence
with less likely of the bad guy's psyop is less likely than the good guy's psyop. But
yeah,
I still feel crazy every time I think that he's alive. Even though I'm like, okay, if you put all the evidence in a document, all the timelines, all the stuff, it's like that's what I can't help but see Occam's razor. Once you've considered all the evidence, the simplest is the most likely, and this covers all of the evidence.
Right.
It's so weird to think that. But I mean, I knew, and kind of bringing another little angle here. I was thinking about this earlier. I 10, 12, 15 years ago, I struggled with gender dysphoria. I'm very public. I probably mentioned it even on our past streams together before. But that's been something, and I wasn't connected at all to any of the LGBT movement. It was like my own thing I discovered within my conservative Bible college experience. And thank God I worked through it and healed from that, and that hasn't been a problem. I've liked being a man now for 8 or 10 years, thank God. But it's been a subject I've followed and watched and been interested in, because you're not allowed to research it because it's politically incorrect. So there hasn't been anyone, like, I'm one of the experts and I don't even know that much. It's just relatively speaking.
Right.
So I've had people come to me for coaching who struggle with gender dysphoria because their priest doesn't know what to say to them. There's not even a book he can read. And so, like, there's some books on it, but they're not like counseling books.
Right.
So
And you have to be careful because, like, there's so many, like, the studies that are just so clearly biased of like from the leftist perspective, that's just all about affirming it and oh, it's all scientific. Like, they don't have the right brain, or it's like, they don't have the right brain. What do you mean? How's that? How they have, like, what are their brains supposed to be in there? It's their brain.
Yeah, and you have counter stuff on the suicide rates that they say go down. They don't keep tracking it to when it skyrockets.
Right.
Several years later. And so you've got stuff like that, but like, how do you help someone with gender dysphoria? Like, what do you do? What do you need? And I have like my ways. I talk about it. A Young Penitent, I've been on his channel once and I talk about it on there. You could always find the video with me. It's like later in the video. But one of these days I'm going to do my own video on it, but I do coaching related to it. But anyways, one thing that stood out to me, and I've been saying this the last few years, is that especially as the MAGA movement kind of rose up for round 2 this last year, the LGB, putting a little divider there, is an easy sell. Hey, if these people want to bump in the bed, their little parts together, they care about each other, whatever, let them do it. Like, that's the narrative. And it's like, it's hard to argue with. Like, God lets me do a lot of sin. I think a society is better without that, but if people are going to do that, I'm not going to like attack them, like physically attack them, jail them. I just can't support that. God, I should be jailed for like my sins then. But like, regardless, like in this, the narrative makes sense, and it's like, let people be. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I get what you believe that. The T, not the LGB, but the T is wild. Like, sterilizing chemicals, chopping up your body. It's happening to children.
Yep.
Like,
and not only that, but schools are pushing it on kids, telling them maybe you're a girl, and they are not. They don't have to disclose any of this to the parents. They can put their kids in hormone therapy without the parents knowing, without the parents consenting. And 8-year-olds.
Yeah, it's so wild when you just look at it objectively. I mean, how many leftists, how many LGB people, I know many personally, who are like, the T is crazy. Like, there's something wrong there. Like, if people want to they're like, if people want to transition as adults, they go for it. The whole kid thing, like, they're like, no, I'm out. Like, me and my boyfriend, like, we're not into this. Like, it's that sort of thing.
When it's these people who think it's crazy, you know something's going on.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing where when the suicide rates skyrocket within a few years, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this isn't built to last. Like, anyone who's behind this, whether they're in Israel or whatever, this isn't built to last. To me, this looks like future controlled opposition. And what do we have? We have that MAGA springboarded off of this, and this was a uniting thing. And now what do we have? We had the Catholic school shooter. We have Tyler Robinson.
Yep.
This is the narrative now. Trans shooters. It wasn't before. It wasn't before. It was the incels. That was the old one. Now it's trans shooters. This is what is the big thing, is trans shooters. And to me, the narrative looks like part of the psyop. Obviously, I'm against it. Just like I'm against, like, I don't think the Holocaust was good, but it's also a springboard. This is the same thing. Like, the trans movement to me looks more like a springboard. Like, it looks like something that was set, that was magnified in order to be replaced with something because it's too obvious. The LGB,
Yeah.
I could see how that can last till the end times. The T couldn't last. There's no way it lasts. Some number of years, it's going to be like the booster shots or whatever. You can have all these heart attacks. You can have all these people be like, I'm not happy anymore. I still want to die.
Right.
And so it didn't work. Like you knew that was going to happen if you've studied the stuff. So yeah, it seems like that's connected. Like the fact
T,
that this is
especially, like somebody had to be from top down pushing it everywhere because nobody had heard about the T in 2013, 2014. By 2015, 2016, it's like your grandma's talking about it. Like how does my grandma who just watches Fox News know about this fringe insane thing that no one's heard of 6 months before?
Yeah, it seems very much groomed.
Mm-hmm.
Like LGB happened naturally. That's been around a long time. Well, and even and we don't have to get. I don't want to go deep into this because it's a whole episode in itself. But the T is really two phenomenon. One is autogynephilia, which is men who like cross-dressing and that sort of thing. Like, and that's been around since ancient times. And then there's rapid onset gender dysphoria, which is middle school girls. And it's what we call the social contagion. Although I think autogynephilia has become that too. But it's like they're interpreting the feelings of puberty and the discomfort that is natural as being transgender. That's basically what's happening right now. And so that is never existed before. That's not been a thing. That's brand new. And so that's what stands out as like, what the heck is this? Where did this come from? Like you said, it just is like, bloop, and it's on the radar. And with it, autogynephilia, they just marry them because they fit together really well. Yeah. Funny that they don't include people who think they're dogs and people who think they're babies and all this other stuff.
Or, black attack helicopters. I mean, why are they left out?
Yeah, or black people. Like, I identify as black. Like,
yeah, well, that's I saw that before I saw transgenderism. I saw Sean King and Rachel Dolezal, I don't know, like 2012 or something like that, 2013. I saw white people pretending they're black. I saw that, and they like, no, fully convinced I'm a black person. Which makes a little more sense.
Thing? That's an easier
it makes more
sell
sense.
Than transgender. Yeah,
I can go out and get some sun and be darker. When I'm in the South
tattoo,
and it's summertime,
full body tattoo.
Yeah, I look pretty Hispanic. I get really dark. I mean, I'm already like even here in Washington and not getting any sun. I'm still darker than most of the white folk around me. I could be.
I'm smart, so people think I'm Asian, regardless of how I look. Like,
I just know maths.
I got good grades. I was several years ahead in math, so people mistake me for Asian.
Yeah, I'm not Asian. I'm just a doctor. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not Asian. I just am part of the Communist Socialist Party.
So what's going on with the Shabbat Shalom thing? That I legit thought that was an AI, like somebody was making fun of her, and then I kept seeing it like a week later. I'm like, that was real. You're telling me Charlie Kirk got home and said Shabbat Shalom?
Yeah. She's like every day. When she's in the like acting reminiscence mode, she looks like a reality TV actor, and she's like, every day you come home, throw keys in the drawer, Shabbat Shalom, and then it was just me and the kids, and it's like,
yeah,
it's so weird. Or have you seen the book? Charlie apparently wrote this book beforehand, and it says it's like stop
God.
Well, yeah, it says stop something God, but stop and God are big and they're orange, and the other text is white with gray in the back. So it looks like it says stop God, and like I think it's
stop
plausible.
In the name of God.
Stop in the name of God.
Why honoring the Sabbath will transform your life.
Yeah, it's so that's weird. So yeah, there's a bunch of just in the last few weeks new weird stuff. Well, and Candace Erika has come out on the worldwide anti-Candace tour, the worldwide privacy tour. Great South Park reference. It's very applicable. Like the worldwide privacy tour that Erika's doing. Leave me alone. I'm a grieving widow with my family, who's also like the CEO of a company and
right. That's weird too. Just like that, she's gonna like. When I remember people saying like, "Oh, she's gonna be the CEO." Has she said that? I don't know. People were like saying, "Oh, she should," but I'm like, give a lady some time. Anyone I know I've ever met.
Logical.
Yeah,
Even
it
if I
would
was
need
doing a
time.
psyop, I'd be like, hide her for a few weeks. Don't make her
Right.
come out and say she's running everything, leading things. But yeah, it was very quick. She was like, I'm the girl boss here. So
And did you see
yeah,
people trying to set up JD Vance would be marrying Erika Kirk?
yeah, that hug was weird. Again, like what I like to call it yellow flag, where it's like, yeah, it could be nothing, but it's weird. It was weird. It's weird to, oh, she's very physically affectionate. It's like, yeah, so are what Pooh Bear loves. Elijah Schaefer just got sued for saying that about Kash Patel's girlfriend. But Pot's a sweet oozy goodness. Yeah, they're touchy people because that's super effective. I'm a guy. Like, I know if a girl hugs me and puts her fingers up in my hair, it's like, oh, whew. Like, yeah, she knows what she's doing. Like, she
Right.
knows what she's doing. Her mom is DOD and her dad is Raytheon. Like, she knows what she's doing. She put herself in Trump pageants. Like, yeah, no, it's weird stuff. Like, it's screams psyop. So
Yeah, and people are saying Vance, Erika Kirk, 2028.
yeah,
Which I don't know.
which could
Like
be
I feel like right, within the first 2 weeks after the assassination, I could see that because how many people were like rallying around her and the grieving widow and oh my gosh, Charlie but now like with all these things coming out about her and just her obviously acting and not caring about her deceased husband, I feel like that's not a possible. I mean, maybe I'm too online or looking at it too much, but like so maybe the normie is still where I was right after the assassination, but I feel like with her being in the public eye, that potential is probably gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's when you look at stuff on Twitter, which obviously could be manipulated. Like everything, always consider that option. But it's like there's people doing polls and asking questions, trying to analyze what's the opinion on Twitter of like they call it TPUSA versus Candace, which I don't like because it's like I don't consider myself Team Candace. I don't care. What I want is the truth, of course, and so it's always Candace, except when it's someone who's like that's their account is TPUSA Defense Zionism. But when it's like neutral people, and even sometimes when it's the TPUSA fans, it's all Candace wins. And there was one tweet that was like this really really awful, like calling Candace demonic, all this stuff. And said like only a handful of people are brainwashed enough to, and it was full of replies. And one guy said, "Hey, Grok, do the calculations on which comments below are pro Candace and which ones are pro TPUSA." Now, obviously, question Grok, whatever, go for it. It was like 93% were questioning TPUSA and 7% were defending them. And so people know something's wrong. Like, it's very obvious. And I don't think TPUSA expected this. Let's just assume Candace is a good one, or at least sincere. Like, that's the claim. She's sincere. Maybe she's got problems, but she's sincere. People are like, see, there's something wrong here. That there's something wrong. And so, yeah, it's like, that's the normie view, which is encouraging. It's encouraging to see people ask this, but it's like, I mean, I think the normie view is Epstein didn't kill himself. Like, I think
you think so still?
Yeah. I mean, there might be a lot that don't believe that, but I have, the handful of leftists that I associate with these days, friends from back in Portland, they think that he didn't kill himself. They think it was something. I mean, they're anti-Israel. They're, pro-Palestine, right, pro-Muslim, anti-Israel. So they're fine.
Which I think is the best argument for why Zionism is on the way out. That's going to die with the boomers. That Zionists have lost both sides of the aisle on the younger generations.
Yeah, it is weird. It is so weird, especially growing up like evangelical Zionist, to be surrounded by people who now it's just normal to be like, yeah, Israel is a huge problem in the world.
Yeah, it's like the biggest problem in America. Like, it's the biggest existential threat to our nation. Yeah,
it's crazy. And having Tucker Carlson publicly be like, why are we sending billions to Israel? Like, why are we doing this? Why, like, what happened to MAGA? What happened to America First? Like, there's one video he did like a couple months, like 2 or 3 months ago, where like the first 30 minutes, I think he clipped it out and made it a clip. It's my go-to. If someone's like, well, if they're open and they're like, why are you questioning Israel? I'll send them this video where it's just 30 minutes of him asking all of these phenomenal questions, and it's like the right and the left are both starting to think like this, because it's just too obvious. Like it's gone on so long, so much corruption, and it's very obvious they tried to do controlled opposition, because you have the right being very, like sometimes associated with fascism, but taking these more traditional stances, and then you have the left being like wild and crazy, but then they're anti-Israel. Like this side's associated with anti-Semitism, but this side's anti-Israel. And with both of those, they have a nemesis on. It's a genius triangle, because you have the anti-Semites will be our best friends, but you have anti-Semites and you have anti-Israel, and then they fight each other. So it's like a both and. You have a distraction, and you have the distraction eats itself. That 5D chess, like the two layers there, is genius psyop. And so how many people do I know like that are still Zionists? I know several of them where if you bring it up, they're like, well, you've been listening to those leftists? I'm like, no, I've been doing my own research. But they associate it with being a hateful, LGBT, whatever. Great psyop. Genius. Like, I respect it. Like, as someone who can see a bad guy be really smart bad guy and be like, yeah, it's a good chess move.
Yeah, respect the game.
Yeah, I respect the game. So, and they play a good game. So, yeah. Yeah, and you have one other thing that's coming to mind is Kash Patel. Kash Patel, all these videos of him, FBI director, all these videos of him saying, day one Epstein files need to be released.
Right.
And now he's in all these meetings where they're asking him, what's going on in these files? And he's like, we have no evidence. Like, we don't have evidence. We looked at them.
What do you think's going on there? Because like people are saying Trump's got to be in it. I'm like, well, Trump campaigned on it. And Kash said day one Epstein files, and the Biden administration had 4 years to expose if Trump is in it. So it feels like unlikely that Trump would be implicated. But why is it just because it like I think?
Well, now
who was it?
He's attacking somebody in the party for wanting to release it though.
Trump is
like he's going after Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling her Marjorie Trader Greene for the fact that she's like, I want these women to be justified. I want to release the files, and he's like, why are you still talking about this? But you could also spin it, and this is totally plausible, that he's trying to egg the Democrats on. If he tries to release it, they'll oppose him, and a bunch of them will go down. But if he makes it like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid, guys, don't, I think Trump doing reverse psychology, totally realistic. But I also think it is very realistic. He's like, Trump has, first round of Trump, I was excited. By the end, not a fan. I'm like, I don't feel like he followed through. I feel like he was sincere, but not great. And then this new round of MAGA came. He's even siding with RFK Jr., like all this stuff. And I was like, I think I'm on board the MAGA train again. Like, I think they're going to I think they might actually drain the swamp. And now they know who the traitors are. Like, I'm in. And now recently, especially ever since that super weird memorial for Charlie, that was a Trump rally, I'm like, Trump is doubling down on Israel, bombed Iran. He's now just announced recently he's all in on AI.
He allowed Tel
America.
Aviv to get bombed too, right?
What was that?
But Tel Aviv got bombed too, so it wasn't just Iran.
Trump didn't bomb Tel Aviv though.
No, but I'm saying that like he could have stepped in and not allow or try to prevent it or something like that. That's something that was different.
The fact that he bombed it all, I think, is enough. But it is like, why didn't he just like? You could ask this with every war. We could just go in and win. Easily.
Right, pretty much. Yeah.
Do that. So, like in every war, you have that question. But what he did do was like, it's pretty intense. But yeah, and it's like there were some deportations, but there's not enough. And now suddenly, Venezuela, and it's like what? And it's oil. Like it seems like it's oil. Like it just. So I'm still open to the concept that maybe Charlie, Kash, Trump, TPUSA, they're all in on this good guy psyop. Maybe this is possible. I would love it. I would be like, I lived through.
Part of you wants to trust the plan, right?
Yeah, I would say I lived through what the greatest thing I've ever in history is like this. Like there was Jesus, and then there was that one time they did a reverse psyop on like Israel. Like that's the two big ones.
Because like, how would you decouple this country from it when it for the last 60, 70 years we've been so entrenched?
here's how, I mean, I can spin the narrative. I'm going to say it because I know it sounds cheesy, but it also is fair. Charlie talks about JFK all the time, like I was saying earlier. He tweets about it. There's videos about it where he talks about even Israel being involved. Like in the last couple of years, he was talking about it. And he's like, you know, this is crazy. How would you get around this? And I'm like, if he faked his own death and got everyone to double down on Israel and got TPUSA to be like, make Israel look suspicious. Make it look suspicious easy. Like, if they're lying about Charlie Kirk, that makes them look like they're hiding something.
Right.
That's some genius 5D chess.
This is my headcanon now. This is what I'll be propagating. It's my headcanon. I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, it's so I think it's totally possible this isn't real, but I also think it's totally possible. Well, yeah, I think it's totally possible that this is the good guy psyop. I also think MAGA may have just completely failed us. Like, it's both. I really am staunchly neutral on it right now because both of them are realistic enough percentages in the pie of options. Yeah, but I know Tyler Robinson isn't a load shooter. That's the one thing that's like, dude, this is crystal clear. But Kash Patel, the problem is the reason, and this is pushing me away from MAGA right now. I was leaning towards like, good guy psyop. Kash Patel's acting so weird. Like, I mean, okay, if it's the good guy psyop, I can see him deflecting. He deflects every conversation. It's like he became the director and he got the little book on how to be the FBI director, and it's like how to deflect questions. And he just does it like a robot to the point it looks ridiculous. Might have been Megan Kelly. Someone's asking him, now Candace Owens says that the French put out a hit on her. That's a whole dialogue. I don't have much to say on that. Probably true. Whatever. But she asks him this, and he goes, I can assure you, if any American thinks that their life is in danger from another country, we're looking into it. Okay, so you're saying yes? And he's like, I can assure you. And he just repeats it like slightly different. And Candace is like, he left me on red. He never responded to me giving him the proof that I had. And so, yeah, like that's his response. Like it's very weird. And every single media, like look up just government meetings and interviews with Kash Patel where they actually ask him any sort of hard question. He deflects like that. Just like low effort, by the book FBI deflection, like not convincing, cheesy. And then he criticized earlier, just like the Epstein thing, he was criticizing how much money the FBI spent superfluously on stupid stuff. And he has been flying to his girlfriend's country music concerts in the FBI jet. Like flies around in the FBI jet to all her concerts. And then Elijah Schaefer, I don't know if anyone in the chat, if he's Orthodox or he's becoming Orthodox.
I believe his wife is Roman Catholic, and he's been to several masses, and he's been to liturgies, and he's investigating both. But it seems that he's heavily leaning towards Orthodoxy, and he's been tweeting out, like, I need Orthodox priests to talk to and get advice from.
Okay, because his content looks like he's becoming or is convinced of Orthodoxy from what I've seen.
I think he's like in the narthex. I think
okay,
within the next year, if he's staying on the trajectory, I think he's going to be a catechumen.
Yeah, so you've got this guy tweeting a retweet of a picture of Kash and his girlfriend and saying something that's like a joke that implies the word honeypot. And they are suing him and they say it in the documentation, like I watched someone break this down. They admit in the lawsuit that he didn't even say she was a honeypot. He like kind of vaguely implied that it was weird. And that's why they're suing him. And it's like you just had MAGA's whole deal and Kash's whole deal being how bad lawfare is.
Right.
And this is blows anything that they did lawfare to Trump out of the water. This is the dumbest waste of time that a guy on Twitter implied that she might be some kind of agent. Didn't even say.
How could they even sue him? What would that be? Defamation?
Yeah, it seems like it's lawfare and a threat, because how would you even get this case to go through? It's the dumbest. It's like it doesn't fit the qualifiers. Like I watch people break it down. I forget what they are, but there's like all these qualifiers that you'd have to actually have a successful case, and it doesn't even remotely meet them. And it like admits in the lawsuit in a way that it kind of doesn't. Like it lays out, it's not this, and it's like, well, that's lawyers know that's a requirement. So it's like that kind of stuff is like, Kash, what are you what are you doing? See you in Valhalla, brother. Like, just
Yeah,
like
that's
this
goofy.
goofiest stuff. And so, like, unless he's a good guy psyop, it's like I'm like it's for me, it's that split in the road. Either it's good guy psyop or MAGA is a joke. Like, I don't. There's not another option here. Like, from what I'm seeing. And so, yeah, like I was saying a minute ago, Trump doubling down now on AI. He's like, AI is the future of America, and I'm like, that's not MAGA. That's not traditional values. Like, we want our housing prices to go down. We want
Right.
jobs to be created. Like, we see you doing tariffs. When give us a like estimate of when jobs come back.
Yeah,
Like
we need
something.
wage inflation. Is
We're
what we
being
need.
patient. Sure, give us something. Like, where's the like deportations were happening? He still hasn't deported as many people as Obama did, which is wild. Like that's crazy. And so there's all this stuff that it's like we really haven't seen much of what we expected, and we're seeing shilling for Israel. We're seeing be Bibi Netanyahu's golden pager guy. We're seeing like AI stuff. Like, we're not seeing traditional values. You're kind of he kind of like did as much as he had to, and then most of his energy is going to his own agenda, like sealing the Epstein files. It just yeah, it's weird. And the only way good guy psyop works is if it's a cover to kind of distract Israel, while the good guy psyop works its magic on the side.
Right.
Like,
Well, I definitely think
yeah,
there's more going on than the surface, and I think Trump is smart. I think when people say he's stupid, I think that's not understanding. And like, I don't think, like, I see people say that, the Israel Iran thing proves that Trump is like, is Netanyahu's lapdog or whatever. And I still think that there was enough evidence to like confirm that theory. Like, okay, maybe we could keep that as a potential.
yeah.
But I think it's more that Israel is a big power broker with lots of influence and a lot of money, and with APAC and everything, and that it's just part of the chess game. And I don't know. I don't think Trump is ideological. I don't think he's Zionist or anti-Zionist. I think he looks at these are different groups that I have to interact with and make deals with. So I'm going to try to scratch their back, have them scratch my back whenever I can. So I think he's more agnostic when it comes to the ideology.
One piece of evidence for that I saw, and of course, anything could be a psyop, whatever. Like, all our bases are open, but when he told Bibi Netanyahu like not to do the Iran stuff and like certain stuff and not to do stuff in Palestine,
They don't know what they're doing.
yeah, and Bibi Netanyahu did it, and Trump was, when they interviewed him, he was pissed. He was did not look like Erika Kirk. He was angry. Like, he was actually angry, and I was like, that's interesting. They did something he didn't want them to do, and he's mad about it, and he expected them to.
Right.
He expected them to do what he said. That's why he's angry. Or at least to be on the same playing field. If he's a pawn, you don't get angry when you get orders from your commanding officer.
Yeah, you don't question. You're a pawn.
Yeah, when you think that you're an equal or higher, then you get pissed. And so that stood out to me. I was like, why is he angry? That's interesting. So, yeah.
And like, you have JD Vance saying stuff like, Israel and America's interests will line up sometimes, but many times they won't. When it comes to war with Iran, America does not want that. If Israel wants that, we do not support that. And then he goes to Israel, and he's like the first politician I've seen in a decade not to kiss the wall. And he goes to the
Holy
sepulcher. Yeah, the sepulcher. So, I mean, there's definitely evidence for a good guy psyop, or that
JFK didn't kiss the wall either.
Yeah,
one of the few, which is interesting.
So I think I'm still on good guy psyop, but maybe not as in depth. I think it's like, there's been stuff like I'm not happy with, obviously. And I think that a lot of people have been panicking. They've jumped off totally, or say like, screw this guy, I'd rather have Harris. I'm like, you'd rather have Harris? Yeah, you'd rather have Harris. What the heck?
Yeah, that's not on the table. No.
I'm like, even if Trump is 20% of what we expect, like, I'd love for him to be a crazy God Emperor, anti-Semite. I'd love all that. Like, that'd be great for all of us. Everybody would prosper. But I don't know. I don't think he's that. But I think that he is good and is not able to do all the things he wants to do. And that part of that's just with the infrastructure and momentum of all of the anti-America, pro-Israel stuff that's been embedded for so long. that he has to deal with. There's infrastructure there that's working against him. There's people within the agencies working against him. So it could just be that he's not as doesn't have the power that people suspect that he does. And like, why aren't things happening? Why aren't like there's 50 million people here that need to be deported? Why aren't they all deported? It's like, well, these are people that are you can't just they're not just like at the grocery store. You can go pick them up. You know, they're hiding. They're whatever. It takes actual manpower to go do that.
Yeah. And I mean, I say that very flippantly, but like I'm one of those people that when I like hear the stories of people being deported, like it messes me up. Like I'm like, I support it because we need like a reset on it.
Well, that's I think another part of it.
We'll let people back in like through the process properly, and I'm like, yeah, please, like you're gonna arrest like a good, hardworking Mexican family who came here illegally, and then like if they're good for America, please let them back in. Like, that grieves me, and at the same time, I'm like, he's got to do the deportation.
We don't have the infrastructure to support 50 million extra people or whatever. We don't have.
What do you think about Venezuela?
I haven't kept up with that. What's going on with Venezuela? I think I saw a couple things, but I've been on vacation last week, and this whole last month I've been working and not really paying attention to news cycle stuff.
I'll send you a 15-minute video I watched. I think it's AI generated, which I hate those, but it's still a good introduction. But
Is it the boats or something?
Yeah, we blew up a boat and whatever, the cartels, but we're treating Venezuela like they're an existential threat to America. We have them surrounded. We have all this, like, we could assassinate the leader of the country really easily, and it's just like it very much like when I watch the stuff about it, I'm like, this is a psyop. I don't know what's going on. They're one of our main sources of oil, and they started shutting off oil to us. So, I mean, that's an adequate narrative right there. But it just doesn't seem real, and Trump is doubling down on it. Like, he's like, we're going to get Venezuela for whatever it is. Like,
well, I think there's also some art of the deal stuff that could be at play, and without having looked at this specific thing. But, I mean, there is a lot of kayfabe or flowery hyperbole. But it could be like the art of the deal, like he is pushing back this far. He's pushing the deal here so it can be, hey, I want to buy your watch. I'll take $50 for it. It's worth $10,000. Okay, $300. Like you start working your way up by offering the first thing that's ridiculous. Like you've seen him do that with the tariffs.
$50 million bounty on the guy's head, which is like, I mean, if that means you want him to die.
Yeah,
like that's not an art of a deal. That's like. That's kill.
No, that's straight up kill the dude. Okay.
Yeah, and so all you have to do is hear that and be like, "Oh, let's go."
Yeah. Why wouldn't they just do it? Why wouldn't they have like a military operation?
Yeah, it's very strange. So yeah, I don't know. It could be art of the deal stuff. That's still, I
didn't know there was a bounty. That was just my reaction of like I've seen because people had this like 2D. Like people call it the panicins, where Trump does something and they like panic and they freaking out. I'm like, just think about it for a week or for a second. Like take a week to see where things pan out instead of like having your, this is the narrative. I knew I got duped again. It's like, well, maybe, but I feel like you got to actually wait to see where things land. Like with the tariffs, it was like people are saying it's ridiculous, doing 100% tariffs on people, and then almost all of them got pulled back. Right. That's what that was. Yeah, even with the Israel-Iran thing, I was really surprised it ended. What's he call it? The 7-day war or whatever. I was like, I thought we're 12-day. Yeah, I thought we were gonna go to war. I was panicking a bit.
Yeah, it's very weird watching the nations around Israel like get painted as being like they're Muslims and violent and everything, and then when you hear their leaders actually speak, they're like, tell Israel to leave us alone.
Right. Yep.
Consistently. Iran's like, tell Israel to leave us alone. Lebanon's like, tell Israel. Hamas is like, tell Israel to leave us alone. Like, Hamas isn't good. But then, Syria, and now they're in Syria and they got Assad. Like, yeah, it's wild to watch, but I think it's becoming just more and more obvious. So the fact that Superman movie, did you see the Superman movie?
I haven't seen it. I saw a trailer. I thought it looked really bad.
Yeah, I couldn't say that I loved it. It had some fun superhero ideas, but it wasn't a good movie. But it was actually a total, like completely, like not not like tongue in cheek, like blatant. It was anti-Israel.
Oh, really?
Super
Huh?
anti-Israel. Like the whole thing was like this one country is invading this poor country with Muslims in it, and the leader is like this stupid moronic idiot, which was Netanyahu equivalent basically, and he's in bed with Lex Luthor, and they're faking attacks and fighting Superman and causing problems, and the equivalent of Palestinian kids are like, Superman, come save us, like, and it was very, and like even they're having like this Lois Lane and Superman argue with each other about this issue, and I'm like, oh, this is all like leftist Israeli Palestinian talking points. Yeah, it was very weird, but I was like, the worst part though is that the ultimate bad guy is not Israel. The guy who leads Israel is an idiot. The ultimate bad guy is the incel. Lex Luthor is like the bitter, angry incel. That's the ultimate enemy in the movie. And I was like, you still had to let the leftism beat reality.
Right.
But yeah, it was all right. But I bring it up because I was surprised that it got made. I was like, wow, this is
Right.
this
You
is
said
very-
that, and I started calculating in my head. Okay, were there Jewish producers on it who directed it? James Gunn directed it. So
definitely know the Suicide Squad. That movie was a masterpiece.
what is this? Some kind of the Suicide Squad? That movie's terrible.
No, Suicide Squad was terrible. The Suicide Squad was excellent.
Yeah, sorry. I haven't seen that one, but
That's why I specified.
anything could beat the first one that came out.
Oh, I would, if you would watch a superhero movie, I would highly recommend the Suicide Squad. It is
Okay.
It is.
I like James Gunn.
It is actually a great movie. Superman is not a great movie.
So okay, interesting. The producer of the new Suicide Squad, not the new Superman movie, is Jewish. I'm trying to find some more stuff on it. I'll
Interesting.
keep
Yeah,
looking.
it is amazing how many Jewish people are anti-Zionist.
Right. Well, have you seen the movie? I was going to bring this up earlier. Have you seen the movie The Believer, made in 2001 with, what's the guy's name?
Is that the one that just yesterday my Catholic friend was telling me I have to watch?
Maybe. It's
She was
Ryan
messaging
Gosling.
me- Oh, no, Ryan Gosling. Is that the one where he's a fascist?
Yeah, he is a self-hating Jew who's
I went
a
through and
Nazi.
watched every Ryan Gosling movie I've never seen that has like a decent score, and so I did see that. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about that? Because that's made by Jews, written by Jews, and it's about a Jew who hates Israel, and it basically is open about their playbook, how we Jews try to get everyone to hate us because we feed on their hate, and like the victimhood makes us strong, and there's tons and tons of quotes from it that are profound. Like look at what they did to Jesus Christ, the death of one Jew. Look how it changed the whole world. Picture if we crucified them all.
I got the image that they were shaming anyone who uses those arguments. Like they were using the real arguments that the person would use in order to make it look bad. Because I think
I didn't get
end,
that
he was
impression.
kind of shamed and disheveled, but it was a while ago when I saw it.
Yeah, I'd have to see it again, but yeah, that's not the impression I got.
Interesting. Yeah, I got the impression that he's like, it's really sad that this Jewish guy. I mean, he tries to bomb the temple. He tries to bomb the synagogue.
Right.
And he's hateful and he beats people up, and like by the end he kind of realizes like, wow, because everyone around him that thinks like him is a psycho. So it seems like the whole movie portrays it in a really negative light to be this kind of self-hating Jew. That was what I got from it. But
All right, well, let's both watch it again and then come back to it.
yeah, yeah.
Well, another thing, I think my wife's got dinner ready, so I want to get off here soon to be with the family. But another strand that's been in my mind I haven't pieced out is how much, like, I don't know what Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk's marriage was like. And I keep going back to that last month of his life, him questioning things, and then now that he's gone, she's super doubling down on the Zionism with the pen and Shabbat Shalom. Like, was there tension or stress or like how much did kind of people saying that they were set up together and it's kind of an arranged marriage or something? Like, were they unified in all that? And then if so, like, she hasn't addressed any of the comments I've seen Charlie make about the JQ. So I just.
I mean, it seems like he was fully invested because, I mean, I grew up with evangelicals that are like inviting Jews. I remember in my church when I was younger, and our church wasn't even like hardcore Zionists. We were just very light Zionists. But there was a Jewish family that came and hosted a Shabbat dinner, and I know everyone from our evangelical Christian church came and participated in this Jewish Passover type dinner. And yeah, I sometimes I forget about that, but like we did that, and that's very normal for evangelical Zionists. So I think Charlie was involved in all of that, and then I think it was the last couple years when he started questioning it. But again, we're back to one of the hands down weirdest, most suspicious things is these 3 talking points of Charlie's that as TPUSA doubles down on we have to fulfill Charlie's legacy, they also double down on avoid these 3 things that were his legacy at all costs. Mm-hmm. And that is like, yeah, one of the weirdest things and valid questions and proof if people really want that in the whole thing. But yeah, it seems like before the last couple of years, he would have been Shabbat Shalom or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, how you could hear the mental gymnastics it takes to hear what Charlie has said the last 2 years and then say Shabbat Shalom and wear the Israel flag.
Yeah, that's super incongruent to me. This seems like wild. She's like there's a memory gap of what he was like before he died that just is not, it doesn't exist in her mind.
Yeah.
If she forgave her husband's killer, then she has no reason ever to be angry with somebody. You look at the way
meme where she's like, Tyler, baby, I forgive you. And then it's like, that BITCH Candace Owens.
Yeah.
Like,
stop. I would tell her to stop.
Yeah. But Tyler, continue.
That sweet baby boy. Do you think, and this is, I'm not going to even imply the word honeypot anywhere. I'm not going to get sued. Do you think Erika Kirk had something to do with someone's death? That I'm not trying to imply anything or get in trouble, but his name probably is Charlie. Do you think she had something to do with it? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's plausible. Yeah, I think it's plausible. I do think that him being alive makes her behavior make a lot of sense to my brain. But also, I think if he's dead, I mean, but she would have to be like a really evil person.
Yeah, I think it would just have to be the money that came in, or like trying to protect the.
Well, I think she would be a long-term plant. Like I think.
Yeah, it had to be.
I think Charlie would have
like the whole marriage is a sham.
What he had married.
Yeah,
if that's the narrative. Yeah, she's like, I mean, if she's involved with the Ukrainian Angels and then she's placing herself in Trump's pageants and then without any repentance flips from that to being the trad wife, it would have had to been long term. I think if it's the good, this is key too. One of my friends was asking me this when I was talking to him about all this stuff. He was like, well, if it's the good guy psyop, like all that stuff is still suspicious. I'm like, it would probably be that she turned, like that she was like, I don't want to do Israel stuff anymore. I don't like this. Like, I love you, Charlie. And then she helped with the good guy psyop. Like, she would have probably had to turn if she's good guy psyop. Because everything looks like she's a really suspicious, creepy actor. I mean, that not just when she's behaving recently. I mean, a bad actor in the broader sense of her past, her whole past. So, yeah.
And she's just a bad actor. Like, she can't make herself cry or anything.
That works both ways. So, yeah, it's really hard. The last week or two, I've been like more convinced that she just is strange. Now, I will say, since we're kind of on the tail end of this, right before we did the stream, so yesterday, okay, here's maybe the last chapter here. We can go to dinner. So TPUSA about 2 weeks ago comes out and is like, we keep hoping Candace would stop, which is there's a guy on YouTube called, side note, there's a guy on YouTube called Deception Detective, one of my favorite channels. I haven't liked him as much because he used to do long form content. Now he's done really short stuff that he doesn't have much to say. Like the long form is deep dives. But he does linguistic analysis. It's different than body language. And I think it's better. He hates body language. I think body language is still good, but his is better for sure. Where you really analyze what people word for word are saying. And one of the things he points out all the time, and it's like he's been vindicated many times now, as long as I've followed in the last few years. Since it's so hard for the human mind to lie, a lot of times people will say stuff where it has a double meaning. And so it's easier that way because you're not lying, but it sounds like the narrative, but you mean the other thing. And so when you watch that one security guard do the Cope video I talked about, Sean, what's his name? Like, he does this a lot where you're like, that makes sense both ways. Well, TPUSA goes, we really wished Candace would stop. We were really hoping she'd stop. And I'm like, either way, they certainly did. And then they say, you know, she's come out with and said this and this and this and this and this. And the next video Candace does, she goes through that and she's like, that's not true. That's not what I said. That's a misrepresentation. That's true, but it doesn't matter. She goes through and breaks it apart. But it's like they cherry picked all the things they could get the best thing to say, and it's still not true. Kind of like when Erika is like, why would I be on an Egyptian plane? Who ever said you were on one? So they go through this, and then they say, but after they just like mud all over Candace, they're like, but we would invite her sincerely to be on our show.
But she has to be in person.
Has to be in person and be on our show. And then that night, midnight, tweet out, she has 24 hours to respond. And it's going to be this exact date, which was yesterday. Candace, the next day, her producer contacts her and is like, hey, you probably already know about this, but just in case, did you see this? And she goes, no. Halfway through the 24 hours, she finds out. They didn't email her. They didn't tag her in the tweet. Nothing. Like the most ridiculous invitation ever. And she contacts them and she's like, hey, it's my husband's birthday. We have guests flying from out of the country. Can I call in? You guys, literally the invitation episode was one of the guys on TPUSA is calling in. They did this all the time. Charlie does all the time. They respond, we see you rejected our offer, so we'll be proceeding without you. It's like, what a cover story. Like this is weird.
Just to say that we tried. Oh, it was her. It was her fault that it didn't happen.
Tried. I've had this, people who've attacked me a couple times and are like, we tried, and I'm like, dude, you had me blocked constantly. I could not contact you. Anyways, not going to get into that one, but like it's a total cope. And so then it switches to Erika says, I will meet with you in person. And Erika actually goes to Candace, crazy enough. And they had this meeting in person 4.5 hours. Today, that happened yesterday. Today, Candace comes out with a video talking about it. And I will be honest, I felt weird about Candace.
People I saw saying, "Oh, I think Candace is gone. Like this is an AI. This is a robot. This is a plant. This is something happened."
This is the first time. You know, I said one of the few times I'm like, "Why is Candace being weird?" Is when it's the Charlie is alive narrative. She did not answer her own questions. We're like we've got our list as her viewers that she's programmed. We've got our list of questions. We're ready for her to drill Erika with and tell us what happened. And she kind of dances around a handful of them and then talks about some other stuff. And I'm watching the live chat. I'm watching it live. And the chat is like, WTF, mate? Like, what's going on? What's all this? Like, what is, like, she's bought, she's paid for. And I'm like, I'm sure she gets that normally. But I'm like, I'm relating right now. Like, this is weird. So, I mean, for me, it's going to be what's going to come. Now, I know I'm going to cope for her, and I think it's valid cope, but it's cope. She's got to stretch it out. This is how she makes her living, whatever. Yeah. Like, it's going to be over episodes. She's always
keep the show going.
Yeah, I'm used to it. She does a daily live stream. But, you know, a week or two from now, I'm going to have probably a more strong opinion about it. Because we expect very specific questions, and it was very much felt like a dance around that one I watched today. And so it was weird. I'm like finishing it up, and I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to go on and talk all about how everything she says is valid, and I just watched the one where I changed my mind like a little bit, where I really am questioning her based on the evidence. Before, it's just my defense mechanism, good defense mechanism of like anyone could be a psyop, even Candace. Today, what I saw was evidence of like, wow, this is really weird. So my hope is that the next week she's gonna lay out, in little snippet portions her content. But yeah, if she doesn't, it's gonna be interesting. Maybe she'll have some evidence. But today was the first Candace thing I watched where I went, yeah, that was not what I was expecting. I was like, everyone was on the edge of their seat, especially yesterday, waiting for what is Candace going to say after she talks to Erika. Because if it was me, I would have drilled home. Why these three values from Charlie are you guys doing a 180 on while doubling down? That would have been my main thing. She didn't talk about that. And then it would have been, why aren't you guys asking about Destiny and all of that group? Why aren't you asking about other things? Why are you saying you will only accept Tyler Robinson narrative? We're fine. They said this. We're fine with questions. We encourage it, but it can only be Tyler Robinson. They said that like a week ago. What? That right there, just what I said. I would have doubled down on that, and that would have been my next day's stream. What did they say? And they did not answer it in the slightest. It was weird. Yeah, it was strange. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what are the options? That she was bought and paid for when they met, or she was always controlled opposition? That's what, just trying to build up.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about this. Yeah,
buzz.
That's the right question for sure.
Because I mean, that those are the two main options to me. Is that something changed when they met, or nothing, or was always this way, and they were just kayfabing, trying to bring buzz to it and make sure the TPSA is in the spotlight in some way. And maybe there's some reveal of, oh no, Candace comes out and says, well, no, it really was Tyler Robinson, and like we can't question it. Or maybe she has some reasons that are brought up that people will placate people, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
I will throw an option at you that again is ridiculous. But
Candace was alive the whole time.
Yeah, it's possible. She talked to Charlie, and Charlie was like, "Look, keep going, Candace." Because it felt more casual. Like she was still doing the like, oh yeah, I'm mad about this and we're asking questions and all this stuff. But it felt like the fire had been dialed back a little bit, and you could tell. Like that's what I will say, just my gut. That's what it felt like. Not just the fact that she didn't answer the questions. It felt like she dialed back the fire a little bit. And I think it came off like Erika, where it's like she's trying to have the fire. That's my like, I'm still fresh off it. I'm too fresh off it, so I have to say that. But like that's going off my gut, and you asked me that question. That's what I felt. The fire was dialed back. She wasn't doing what you said, because that would be wild. But she was still. It felt like coping a little bit, and I was like, did she talk to Charlie? And Charlie was like, keep going, Max, because that's her thing. She says all the time. The story, just for a little context, and I like this expression, especially if it's, any good guy, Candace is good, whatever, good guy psyop. Tucker Carlson, the donors were not liking him because he was questioning Israel. And then he gets invited to one of these events, I think in the last year, and there's actually like some video footage of when this conversation happened, someone released online. I don't know if you can fully hear them, but Tucker says, I don't want to upset the donors, but I do want to ask the Israel questions, but I don't know what to do. And Charlie goes, go Max. Meaning question all you want.
Right.
And he did. Like that was one of the speeches where he asked tons of questions. And so that's one of the things Candace says, go Max, go Max. And I love this. I like it. It's a fun expression to express the whole thing, but like, I'll go Max against Candace. I don't care. But let's go Max. She didn't feel like she was going Max. She felt like she dialed it back to, she was going to 11.
Well, okay. Well, let's like 5D brain this. What if she is going Max, but in a different lane? She's going Max in this like letting the people. Maybe she wants her audience to be like, what the WTF? What's going on, Candace? Like she wants to have some kind of mystery that's gonna like come back around. I mean, I don't know. I'm just because we're gonna know in the next week or month of where things have changed now. Candace is different, or no, like I don't feel like, just kind of like with the Israel Iran stuff. Like we need more evidence. We need more time. We need to see where things are landing.
Good guy psyop. Candace is playing her role perfectly, and I don't mean like she's in on it. I mean the opposite. Like Charlie not telling her, and telling Erika and people be weird, accept Israel's money, all this stuff. Candace is going to go after you. Ignore it, deflect, whatever. He's giving marching orders. Like, we want to be suspicious. That's our agenda. So if good guy psyop is real, this all matches up. But imagine finally it gets so bad that Erika's like, Candace, I gotta tell you something. And then Candace is like, okay, I'll keep going. Like, I'll keep doing what I was doing before. I'll keep making people suspicious, but the fire goes max because that's as much as she can go max now that she doesn't think he's dead. It lines up. It's crazy, absolutely insanity.
Well, I think for good guy psyop to work, I don't think Charlie could come back if he's alive. Like, it couldn't be hey, curtains off. I did all this stuff. I feel like that would undo all the groundwork.
That. I figured he came back at some point if it's good guy psyop, but it might be that too. But the thing is it could be everything gets exposed and 5 years from now he comes out. That's kind of what I
maybe if he's like the detective at the end of the movie that's like, I don't know if you've seen the Knives Out movies, but the
first one, yeah.
Yeah, James Bond comes out and he's like, so all right, it was Israel over here doing this crazy ass shit, and he just starts pontificating, bringing everybody along. Like, how could that make any sense? Like, well, he had this matchbox that was in the basement of this pizza parlor, and it's like, okay, well, I see you orchestrating. It makes sense. Like, I feel like he'd have to come out and be like the puppet master, explaining everything. If he just showed back up, it'd be, I think, any groundwork towards Israel, like the normies would not be. I don't know how they. I feel like they would lose the plot if he showed back up.
Also, Jeremy asked in the comments, why wouldn't Candace agree to the meeting in person? Well, I kind of already covered that. Like, she talked about the husband's birthday, but I think you cannot ask that question without putting the same bar to TPUSA. They have zero excuse. Like, if Candace is weird for the fact that she's saying it's her husband's birthday and she's only willing to call in and she can't be there when they put it at an oddly specific time, which that's reasonable. If you tell me out of nowhere you demand I come in person at this very specific moment, that's really weird. That's way weirder. And it's realistic that a person just can't do that. So we can say, oh, why won't she do it? Well, you can ask that. Totally valid to ask that. It's not that weird if she won't do it. It really isn't that weird.
Especially in the light that TPSA has had
specific demands.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That is inexplicably weird. Whereas Candace is explicably not really weird. It really isn't. Like,
she might be annoying, but it's also weird that TPSA has had people hop on a call like this and do something. It's not like, oh, you have to come in person. That's what we always do. It's like, no, it's clearly this is a false.
Like 100 times weirder than her not being willing, even willing. Let's say it sounds like she's not able, which is totally valid. But let's say not willing. That's still not that weird. Them not be willing to pick a different date, pick a different time, be more flexible. Literally,
right.
She's open to being flexible about it. Like, that's just so many multiple times more strange than what her response was. So, and that's what I feel like with this whole thing. Everyone who questions her, it's just consistent. Not only is it consistently straw man, is it consistently genuine or ingenuine ignorance of what she's doing. It's consistently double standards. Like the money, like I said earlier, where they're like, oh, Candace is doing this for the money. I'm like, did Candace increase her profits by $150 million? Or let's say just percentage, 150%? No, nowhere near that. Does Candace have all this money that's that she's filing in her IRS forms and they're like tax fraud going to a business that doesn't exist? No. So sure, ask Candace those hard questions, but only if you're going to ask TPUSA the same ones, which is going to condemn them tenfold if it condemns Candace. And again, that goes back to the I do not like double standards. Is she not profiting off this story though, bro? I just covered that. I just said she's making money. But if you're going to say that makes her suspicious, then you have to say you're 10 times as suspicious as TPUSA, because this is tenfold. If you're suspicious of her making money, it has to be 100-fold suspicious when TPUSA has what appears to be documented fraud. That's why I always say, like, sure, ask all the questions about orthodoxy, but ask questions about yourself. That's where I measure you. I don't measure if you're like, well, you guys chant all this stuff at church. That seems like brainwashing to me. Hey, it is a little bit like that. Like, yeah, cults chant stuff. We chant stuff. Weird. But are you going to ask your own questions? When you go listen to that song on the radio, Imagine No Religions, isn't that the same thing? You know, like that's my standard. Like, ask Candace the questions, but if you're going to say it's weird when Candace does it, when TPUSA does tenfold that, you need to be consistent. That to me is where I'm like, I don't trust you either. Like, you're asking questions that are not consistent or fair. You have a bias. Like, you're saying Candace has a bias, Candace has an agenda. If you're not asking TPUSA the same standard, you have an agenda. So who cares if Candace has one? Like, double standard. But if you're going to ask both of them, hey, ask both of them. Go hard, go max on TPUSA, go max on Candace. I'm in. I'm on your team. Go max against me. I say on Twitter all the time, like, people will be like, oh, I want to ask you about, like, you're an Orthodox life coach. Isn't that a little weird? I'm sorry, I don't want to offend you. And I'm like, no. If someone is on Twitter and says I'm some Orthodox person, you vet them. Be respectful, sure. But, like, vet them. Ask them, do you have your priest's blessing? You should be asking me that. You should be asking people that. No one who is a sincere Orthodox Christian and is, like, living the life is offended by being questioned. They know they're going to get way harsher questions at the last judgment. This is what all the saints say. No one can question me or insult me like the prayers I say in church. No one can question me like God's going to question me at the last judgment. So no one should be offended by that. Go max against everybody. No one should be offended if you go max against them. Sure, again, for your own soul, not for them, for your own soul. Be respectful. Don't mudsling, whatever. But like that healthy, safe skepticism, we need to be safe. You know, I get a guy joins my Discord server and it says like Father so-and-so. I'm like, message him. Hey, are you a priest? Can you prove it? Like, you're going to say you're a priest on my Discord server? If they're a priest, they understand why I'm doing that. So, like, consistency. So.
Okay, this is a long one. This is Jeremy's roommate. It's not odd that she spoke as if she was blacklisted and excommunicado from all right wing except for Kirk himself. Now she has a source within every niche group. I assume the she is Candace?
Yeah, you'd have to give me some examples. I don't know what that means, source within every niche group. She has sources in places because she's friends with some people. That doesn't like you can have TPUSA hate you, which that's like a documented. I mean, what you're describing is documented fact. TPUSA does not like her. They are actively attacking her. Erika Kirk is attacking her. And she is still friends with some people who are in TPUSA, so she has sources there. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, unless you're citing something I don't know about, there's nothing like illogical or contradictory about that, and that's like all documented fact as being reality. So yeah, like I don't see as a problem with that. I mean, you see this all the time where all these figures, like, they have conflicts with one person but like another person or whatever. The donors hate Tucker Carlson. Charlie likes Tucker Carlson. And then Charlie's starting to piss off these same donors. So it's like these shifts are all normal and natural. But yeah, I don't see her having sources in an organization that the greater organization does not like her. That's normal. I mean, that's everywhere. Yeah, it's really, really common. I mean, whistleblowers are real. Someone in an organization who's like, oh, this is actually really corrupt what I'm seeing. And they whistleblow. Like, it's not like, oh, well, they're part of that organization. Maybe they must not be a whistleblower. That doesn't happen. It's like, that's what she's claiming. So, and she's shown some texts. She's shown texts from Charlie. She's shown texts from these people. I guess they could be fabricated, but I mean, at that point, the very conspiracy theorist you're accusing her and all of her friends of being, you're now that. So, I mean, be that if you want to. Like, I'm not even against that. But again, my number one thing, this is like a thing I'm constantly saying on Twitter, everywhere, is I'm like, be consistent. If I disagree with you, I can empathize with your position. Like, I really strive to be that. I like being that. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I like hearing everyone's view. There's got to be a good reason they believe this. But when you have a double standard, that's a red flag to me. You know, if you're like, I might think some view you have is like, you might be into the trans movement. I can empathize with how you got brainwashed and how this happened and whatever and all these things. I can get that, and how the narrative is that they're born this way and all this stuff. I can empathize with that. But once you have a double standard, that's within you, the contradiction. Like, when I disagree with you, I think that's you and reality of a contradiction, but I'm out of touch with reality all the time. But when you have an internal one, that makes me suspicious. That means you're not being honest with yourself. If you say, this is my standard, and it's different than mine, I can empathize with it. But if you say, this is my standard, and then over here you don't apply it, it's like, okay, something's going on. You got to be honest with yourself that you lay the same standards for everyone. I often say, play by the same rules. If you're going to put this on someone else, this is why I hate sola scriptura arguments a lot, because it's always someone being like, Scripture interprets itself. But when I say 2 Thessalonians 2:15, hold fast to the traditions we taught you, both written and oral. Like, I believe it's written and oral. And they're like, well, that doesn't count. And it's like, okay, you just told me it's sola scriptura, but it's your opinion. Like, it's not what Scripture just said right there. And so I'm like, play by the rules. If you're going to say sola scriptura, then when I quote a Bible verse, you have to believe it. And same goes for me. So, right. Yeah, I want people to be critical of Candace. I want it to just be objective. Like, that's really my agenda is, yeah. Oh, ding, ding, ding. I'm in. Yeah, I'm on that team. Like,
well, can we give Jay Dyer all the information? Because it'd be like the same amount of sass, but at least be a man talking.
Yeah. I want to post if it wasn't not really my Twitter's vibe. I would absolutely have posted this. I want to get a picture of Candace Owens and also Rachel Ziegler, I think is her name, the girl that played Snow White, really annoying feminist girl, and be like, inside you there are two obnoxious, annoying black women. Eat Candace, like, because that's true. Like, it is that's really what I'm seeing. So, yeah. No, I tell people, ask me questions that make me uncomfortable. Some of these questions like make me uncomfortable where you ask them and I'm like, oh, I haven't thought about that. And I can tell it's embarrassing that I haven't thought about that. And afterwards, I'm always like, good. How am I going to find the truth if I don't get uncomfortable? Like, that's just the reality of it. Truth. This is a whole separate episode. Actually, me and Jeremy were talking about this yesterday. Actually, I'm going to do a video on it. I outlined it while I was waiting for you to show up. I actually outlined a whole video. But like, when you are contradicted, when you believe something or say something and it gets contradicted, it actually lights up the brain like torture. Like, when they do brain scans, cognitive dissonance lights your brain up the same as physically torturing your body. It is because your values are tied to your existence as much as your body is. We don't realize that. That's why it's really hard to change people's minds. And so if you want the truth, you're going to have to bear the cross of experiencing that painful cognitive dissonance. That's just how it is. So I try and embrace that like a workout, like feel the burn. Like, yeah, tell me stuff I don't want to hear. Show me the video with blood in it. Like, one day, maybe like a month from now, I'm going to keep saying this and be so proud. Yeah, show me the video. No one showed me yet. And then one person's going to be like, look, here's a trail of blood as they walk along. Maybe. And I'm going to have to face that. But that's because I want to die for the truth. Like, I want to die for it. Like, some guys are going to die in war. That's more manly. But like, my mild little bit of manliness is like, I'm going to die for the truth. I'm going to feel really uncomfortable for a lot of facts that I have to learn. I'm going to have to, a year ago, double down on Trump and be like, maybe MAGA will save us. And then be like, nah, maybe not. So, yeah.
We'll see.
That's the battle I like to fight. So.
Good guy, PsyOp. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Thaddeus, thanks for coming on. And I'd love to have you on again. And is there anything you want to plug? I have your website I can pop up real quick.
Yeah. My thing, which is not politics. Like I said, I hate politics. My thing is my coaching, which is basically therapy with a lot of orthodoxy. And I mean, I have some people who are spiritual seekers, Protestants, Catholics, whatever. I also have a YouTube channel with a lot of videos. They're not this kind of content. They're like, I have one video on belief psychology, but most of it is like orthodoxy and therapy and kind of interplays between those subjects. So go watch one of those. And some people I say, watch, if you're thinking about meeting me, if you just want to contact me, do it. But you can always watch one of the videos, because that's the kind of stuff I do in my coaching. It's just personalized to you and your problems and things you're going through. And so, yeah, go on my website, use the contact me page. But yeah, I've got a video on the toll houses that a lot of people have said like really helped them understand the orthodoxy of the toll houses. The noose one has been really popular. I'll also plug, I think my Trinity video is fantastic, that yellow one. And yeah, it just didn't take off. I thought it would take off. I tried a clickbait title too, like the Trinity proves Christianity, but a lot of people approach the Trinity like in this doctrinal way. I approach it as like an empirical, like you don't need to prove the Trinity from Christianity. The Trinity makes Christianity and all of your existence make sense. That's the premise of the video. So, anyways, I want to plug that because I think a lot of people would like it, and it didn't get the attention I think it should.
Is it like the problem of the one and the many?
It's when you learn from the saints, such as Saint Demetrius Stanilai, this book right here, and this concept, the experience of God, the Holy Trinity, Volume 1. He was just canonized, Romanian theologian. He talks about the relationship the persons of the Trinity has with each other. It's not like only begotten or that kind of stuff. He does talk about that, and that goes over my head. But he talks about it in like a relational way, like the way that each one loves the other two. And then how that births the universe, like St. Maximus the Confessor talks about. And then you realize that that's how every marriage is supposed to work. That's how every relationship is supposed to work. That's how the church is supposed to work. Like you can derive from that Orthodox ecclesiology flows right out of the Trinity. You can derive that the papacy doesn't make sense from patristic and Orthodox Trinitarian theology. And you can derive like why we like heroes. Like the whole, so the video just takes the Trinity, starts with how St. Demetrius explains it, and then uses that to make the whole universe make sense. So it's a very, I think most people, if they heard theology presented in this way, a lot of people who aren't Christians would be like, that actually makes a lot of sense. I talk about how evolution doesn't make as much sense to explain my everyday existence as that does. Hinduism, like the divine Atman and Brahman in Hinduism, Buddhism, like they don't make my everyday life with other humans make sense like that does. If the Trinity is the model, now it makes sense why I work like I do. So, anyways, that kind of stuff, like that's the bread and butter of my channel. My coaching is like that, but then it becomes practical. Like, okay, and then how should I live? If that's what I'm built for, how should I live? Like, what do the fathers give? I usually don't take advice from psychology, but sometimes the psychological explanation drives home that the fathers were right all along in the advice they give. So that's a lot of times what my coaching is. So, and I have the blessing of my priest, thank God, by God's mercy, because I'm a goober. But it's like the one thing in the whole universe I'm good at. I'm lazy, glutton, all the, give me the whole list and I'll check all the boxes. But I'm good at explaining Orthodox spirituality in a practical way for psychological issues. So, I didn't do anything to be like this either. If I am good at it, God help me do it. But so people can check that out. But this, I want to say, I think I said this last time, this is my third time streaming with you. I love your channel. We go way deeper on things, and it's like my outlet for the things I can't, I've been dying to talk about this. And I'm going to send this to all my friends who've been asking me about it because now I have a video. This helps me so much. But it's not on brand for my channel. It's not on brand for my Twitter. It's not on brand for me anywhere. So your channel is like my outlet for my way out there stuff that I don't get to talk about. And I'm so thankful for that. So, I think love it on any time.
Part of what helps my channel in that is that I don't have like a specific brand where it's like, oh, it is just the politics. It's just me and the things I think are interesting, and I'm asking questions and trying to get interesting people on. So I allow things to go wherever they are, and probably hurts my channel because like you said, like you need to, like, you can't just be Orthodox. You have to be Orthodox and psychology. You have to be Orthodox and something. And I'm like, well, I'll get there, but right now I'm just gonna have fun and see where things are.
Yeah, it's the perfect place to come and not get people who go, ugh, brother, ugh, So. It's great. But and it's nice because it's Orthodox too, because I've become more trad, more ortho bro, monarchist, whatever, and and yet at the same time there's like people going off the rails and off the deep end, and there's some channels out there presenting content similar, like psyops, whatever. You're welcome, Jeremy. There's people talking about psyops and everything, but sometimes it's just simply put, not in the spirit of Orthodoxy. Like Orthodoxy is like radically work on yourself.
Yeah.
And so, and this, it's more balanced here, where it's like, we're going to talk about racism and trad stuff and Israel is bad and the JQ, all this stuff, but we're also going to keep that, like that right. is here. So
yeah, that is the core of everything, and everything else bleeds out from
I'm
there.
here for my repentance. Like even
Right.
this stuff, like I'm talking about it, like it humbles me looking at it. And if I get in fights on Twitter, I have to not do that because that's bad for my repentance. Like repentance, turning my heart back to Christ, which is what that means. That has to win in every single circumstance. So, yeah.
And with all the psyops and the politics and stuff, one of the first priests I met and got to know at his catechism, he was laying out all this stuff because it was during COVID, and he like was going through all this geopolitics, and people were asking questions, and like for an hour just going to geopolitics. We didn't really talk about orthodoxy, and this is during catechism class. And one thing that stuck out when he said was, when you come to have faith and trust in the church, and you have faith and trust in Christ, and that you know that that's the truth, that's the foundation that can't be shaken. Like all this stuff we're talking about, it's not scary anymore. It's actually kind of fun. Like you can observe it, and you can look at it, and you can go like something has been going on. There has to be a paper trail or money trail or something, but and it has effects on everybody's lives. But it's just a roller coaster that we're on. And it's not, I'm not, oh my gosh, when is like the next variant going to come out? It's like, well, it's all, all things for our salvation.
Yeah. Candace might save us. Like,
right. Yeah.
God will save us, and maybe he'll use Candace. Like,
right.
And maybe he'll use Candace to humiliate me. Maybe I'll double down on her, and then she'll come out as a psyop. Like, either way, God's going to save me. That none of this stuff, depends on that. And when I start to act as if it does and get really worked up, or like, how could you say that? Like, that's so blind. You don't know the facts. Like, now I'm not living in tune with Christ.
Right.
Like anxiety goes away when we live as if God will take care of us. And thank God we have all this proof that we experience every Sunday, like that he will. All these stories of saints, all these people in my own parish that I hear their stories. And I'm like, yeah, God is going to take care of me. Like, boom, the natural antidote to anxiety is like the belief in a loving and active God. So.
Right. And I think, that's so much of the conspiracy stuff, especially when people first get into it, they're all black-pilled, it's a root of anxiety. And I think maybe them going down all the rabbit holes is trying to find some cure to the ail of the anxiety they're experiencing.
Yeah.
But
the only white pill is the bread pill.
the Eucharist pill? Which bread? Yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And the antidoron is the bread too. So bread.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Thaddeus, I got to eat some cold dinner. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Anything else you want to say or plug or anything before I hop off?
Hey, that's everything. Maybe the one thing I'll say just for the heck of it is, any of this stuff, pray about it. Pray for me and for you, and pray for the truth to come out. That's what I do pray. Like when I'm watching this stuff, I'm like, Lord, I know things are going to happen for your will, but like, he wants our heart too. He likes when our heart wants something good, he likes us to cast that care upon him, as the scriptures say. So, like pray when you see this stuff, say, Lord, may the truth come out. May justice be done. May the innocent be protected. May, God vindicate the righteous. May, people who are, broken be healed, that sort of thing, pray. Because that's really like, we're in this life to turn the heart to Christ. The only time you're winning, you're truly winning, is when you're praying. Like when you're doing everything as unto the Lord. So whatever it is, like all psyops become good if they're turning me to repentance. Like the devil's falling into his own net, as the psalmist says. So if you're tempted, you pray, you're using the demons for good now. Like, so we can always do that. We can turn any of the, not only be white pilled, but we can turn it to prayer, turn it to thanksgiving. Lord, thank you that people see what's happening. Lord, thank you for this. Thank you for protecting so-and-so. Prayer is the warfare in politics that is actually worthwhile. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'd be great if we become a Christian nation one day. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. We actually had,
God willing, those words of St. Paisios.
Prayer and repentance.
Someone quoted him. They met him personally and he said, "One day America will be holy." And I think the saints prophesy that. So, yeah, Jeremy's a real one, real fake that is. But
well, with that, Jeremy, I don't know how to give you your money back, but I don't want no faker being a member here. So I'll work on getting your money back. All right. I trust Thaddaeus that he seems like a real one. He's gonna let me know when there's a faker trying to subvert me. Thank you, Thaddaeus.
Yeah. Hey, I assigned him on it. He's on duty. So
Oh no, you're good guy psyoping me right now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Or I mean, no, definitely not. That'd be